Transmitting live from the Asylum Studios, deep in the bowels of Southwest Texas. It's the Rooz Show. The show where we talk about anything and everything. Where nothing is sacred, nothing is watered down, and nothing is PC.
Alrighty, hey folks, this is Rooz, and it is great to be with you guys once again, transmitting live, of course, from the Asylum Studios, from the Pimple on the backside of Texas, the beautiful city of Eagle Pass, and doing the very best we can to bring you the best quality talk radio we could muster without all the bluster. Welcome to the Rooz Show. It is Wednesday, December the 17th, 2025, 19:03 hours. We're on time for a change. Check it out. All right. I hope you guys had a good couple of days here. Last we saw you was Monday night show. Hope you were able to catch that. It was a heavy show Monday night, so I don't know if you had the opportunity to catch it or not. We talked about grief, and we talked about dealing with grief and handling grief, and talked about we had a grief counselor, a grief mentor on the show. Talk about all the different ways of dealing with it and how to go about it. And it was a heavy show. It was a heavy show. I'm not gonna deny that. After the show, I kind of kicked myself. I was like, I think I said a little bit too much about my personal stuff, you know. But that's all right. It's what it is. You guys know the story. You've been with us long enough to follow along here. But it was an interesting show. It was a great talk. I really appreciated it, and I hope you guys check it out. It was timely for this time of year. You know, a lot of folks go through seasonal depressions. I go through seasonal depressions. A lot of folks deal with PTSD over the loss of a loved one, family members, spouses, you know, whatever it might be. So this particular time of year hits hard for people dealing with that stuff. So I thought it was a timely show and a timely conversation, and I hope you guys can catch it at some point. Also want to remind everybody here is a live show, and what we're trying to do is, if you might see me looking a little frustrated at the moment, it's because we followed every instruction possible to live stream this thing on Instagram, and it's not letting us do it for some reason. So I apologize for the look of frustration, but we'll get through that. But folks, don't forget, this is a live show, weeknights, 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. For those of you who have a difficult time translating the time changes and time differences. And please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the show with your friends, your family, and your followers. Let them know we're out here. Help us with the algorithm. Share it, like it, and help us get found. This is important to us. It's important. We're currently sitting at 518 subscribers on Rumble right now, which is our home base. So we would like to see that at least 520 before the end of the year. So I think that's a doable thing. We just need 2 more people. So please pass it along. Let's see if we can get some folks to follow. If you're following on YouTube, that's unfortunate, but you're there, so no problem. I don't care for YouTube too much because I already have 2 strikes, so it's just a matter of time before they pull the plug on this thing. But you know, and if that's the case, that's the case. I don't really care. So if you're on YouTube watching this thing and you're following on YouTube, come to Rumble. Rumble's a free speech platform. You don't have to worry about petty censorship nonsense like you do on YouTube. Yeah, man. One of our strikes on YouTube was because we were talking about alternative medicine, alternative therapies for diseases. And they got a strike for that, for misinformation, disinformation. You know, I mean, come on. We got one for, I think, talking about finances and cryptocurrencies. Good grief. Really, come on. It's a show, you know. we have conversations. That's what we do. It's a talk show. So check it out. All right. I'd appreciate it if you would come on over to Rumble and follow us there. That's a much, much better place to go. All right. So let's see. Just the usual housekeeping stuff before we get into our guest for tonight. Don't forget to head over to podhome.fm. Podhome is the most modern and easy-to-use podcast hosting platform you're going to find anywhere. Use it to publish your episodes, enhance your audio, automatically generate chapters, titles, transcripts, show notes, chapter art, whatever you like to do. Podhome can help you do that. You can even podcast live, your audio stream live. That's what we're doing. We're streaming our audio live across the modern 2.0 apps and platforms. And we're also live streaming across our website. So you can always listen to the audio on the website as well. So that's always a lot of fun. When people go to the website, I appreciate that. I like to see the traffic increasing on the website. It's great. So you can do all that stuff. And something, if you don't have a website, maybe you're new to podcasting, you haven't gotten yourself situated yet, Podhome will give you a website. They will set you up with a website. They will give you everything that you need to help you to produce a spot-on, world-class podcast. All right. And I laugh because, I think about this mess of a show that we have. And, it's not exactly world-class, but we're getting there. But Podhome gives you everything that you need for one monthly affordable subscription of $15.99. Now, you can't beat that. $15.99. I've been on other platforms. They've charged double, or in one particular one was triple the amount that I'm paying here with Podhome. And I got nothing compared to what I'm getting with Podhome. So check them out, podhome.fm, not Pothome, because the transcript always changes it to Pothome. It's podhome.fm, $15.99 a month. And also, if you sign up today, you get 30 days free. You get 30 days to play with it, and then $15.99 a month after that. You will not go back to your old platform. I guarantee it. Try them out. Great platform, great people to work with, and everything you need. Really, really good stuff. All right. Also, let me tell you a little bit about Pro HVAC. Pro HVAC Solutions leverages over 30 years of expertise to provide premier HVAC sales and repair services, specializing in both residential and commercial installations. Pro HVAC's team of skilled technicians is dedicated to providing efficient heating, ventilation, and air conditioning solutions for your home or your business. With a focus on quality workmanship and customer satisfaction, Pro HVAC ensures your comfort all year round. Just contact Pro HVAC Solutions today for reliable HVAC services tailored to your specific needs. Visit prohvacsolutions.com. That's prohvacsolutions.com. And please let them know that you heard it right here on this show. That would be awesome. We'd appreciate it. All right. Also, if you would, don't forget to head over to our website, joerooz.com. And when you get there, look for that little contact section. Open up the little web form and send us over a message. Let us know whatever's on your heart, whatever's on your mind, any questions, comments, cares, concerns that you have. Maybe you have a complaint. You shouldn't have any complaints, but maybe you do. You can always send it to us there. Or if you don't want to do that, you could always email it to us directly at info@joerooz.com. That's info@joerooz.com. And also, great idea, by the way, novel idea. Wish more folks would use this novel idea. It's a great little invention called a comment section down below. Drop a comment down below. Let us know what you think, or send us over a message through the live chat. You can do that as well. We always really appreciate that. Also, if you would, please visit the support page. This is a value for value show. And all that simply means is that if you receive anything of value from what we're putting out, we're asking you to return that value to us in the form of a donation. That donation could be your time, your talent, or your treasure. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about it now, but we'll talk more about it at the end of the show. All right, so you can find out all the ways that you can help us out and become part of our producing team. All right, so we'll get into all of that at the end of the show. All righty, well, now tonight, in our first hour, we're going to be joined by Jonni Jordyn. Let me fix the audio. I'm going to do that sooner. Apologize. So we have Jonni Jordyn, a Denver-based award-winning author whose creative journey spans music, filmmaking, and writing across genres from fantasy and sci-fi to serialized world-building adventures. Born in Oakland in 1957 and performing with legendary artists before turning her imagination to novels later in life, Joni brings a lifetime of art, humor, and storytelling to her work, including her newest release in the techno-thriller Virus trilogy. Joni, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Is there a delay?
I'm not hearing a delay. Your lips are synced, but there are occasional cutouts.
Okay, that might be. Let me push this away then a little bit. That might be that. Okay. Well, welcome to the show. It's great to have you here. What I like to do is whenever we have our guests, we like to ask a couple of ice-breaking questions just to kind of throw you off your game a little bit, get you off the well-rehearsed and well-prepared for, answers to everything. So let me ask you this. Who is someone, past or present, that you would love to sit down and have a 2-hour coffee with?
Well, maybe nothing earth shattering, but I'd love to sit down and have a chat with John Belushi.
Mm.
No, I did sit down and have a chat with his brother, but and I did open for the Blues Brothers, but yeah, it'd be
Did you
nice to
really?
actually sit down with John.
Wow.
Yeah,
I love the Blues Brothers. I thought that was the greatest invention that they came up with. I love their music. They were great. And it's
they were
hard to believe
incredible.
this Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi. That's and that whole thing started
Yeah,
as a skit
yeah,
on Saturday Night Live, for crying out loud.
yeah. Well, and Jim, he came rolling in late. We're already backstage enjoying the fruits and the meats and the sandwiches, and he comes in and he's just throwing one joke after another. He was just he was so friendly and personable. And then they went on and it was just killer.
Wow, that's awesome. And that's definitely something that I would brag about, that I got to, yeah, open for the Blues Brothers. That's awesome. I love that. So, if your GPS could talk back to you in a celebrity voice, who would you want it to be and why?
Oh, I'm not so good with the names. Um, I love hearing a Scottish voice or
Santana?
a Australian voice over my GPS. But no, I was thinking more of uh, okay, you caught me off my game. I can't remember her name, but yeah, she was a singer, and yeah, I'd love to have her be my GPS voice.
Okay, fair enough. So I asked somebody else this question the other night, and I told them who my celebrity voice would be on my GPS, and you know who it was? William Shatner.
Oh, really?
Yes, I would love William Shatner's voice as Captain Kirk on my GPS, telling me where to go and what to do. Oh, and especially with all the
And
overacting.
I want to come out Stardate 3125. Turn left.
That'd be great. I could just hear it now. Oh man, that's awesome. So Johnny, you've had careers in music, you've had career in film, writing. What was the moment that you knew that you were meant to be an author?
Well, in college, I was reading a short story to the class, and the bell went off, and I still had a page to go. I closed up my books and started to get up to go, and the entire class and the teacher said, "No, sit down and finish it." That was the moment that I knew that I had something. Um, Unfortunately, when I graduate, well, I didn't graduate. When I left college, I was lured by the high money prospects of computers, and so and I had to pick a avocation, and I went with the music.
Oh wow. So what was it like when you were performing on stage? What was it like performing with musicians, legendary musicians like the Blues Brothers, before switching to writing novels? And who else have you performed with?
Well, I performed with members of the Santana band, members from his Abraxas album, and I performed with his brother, his late brother, Jorge Santana, and it was it was fun. We were always the main act, and we people go on ahead of us, and then we get on, and we'd play till so late. It was I was a completely different person in a completely different world. We do a show and I get home around 3 a.m. Nowadays, I'm up at 5 and writing.
Wow.
So,
I can't get up. I have to be at work by 8 o'clock. I can't get out of bed before 7. So I don't get up at 5 and start writing. Wow. I gotta give you credit. See, I'm not a writer. I tried writing. I have outlines for books that I have stored away. I look at it like it's like a daunting task for me. Like I can't sit down and write. I've tried. I'm not gonna say I haven't.
that's exactly how I felt the first time. I thought, I've written short stories. I've written 11,000 words. How could I write, something that's 120,000 words? And I just kind of started forcing myself to do it. And as I went along, the characters were giving me ideas for what to do next or what to do alongside.
Mhm.
And before I knew it, I had 160,000 words.
Wow. Now, do you
Now,
outline?
it also helped that I was away from home, living in a hotel, because that was when I first started working in Denver.
Oh, okay. Now, uh, now, do you outline your stories like chapter by
I
chapter,
do.
and then because I interviewed a guy not too long ago. What was his name? Richard Spiegel, and I asked him about how he. I asked all the writers that I interview the same question: do you outline? Because I'm trying to learn myself. Um, and his thing is, he told me, which I found fascinating, is that he basically just sits down and writes. Like, he doesn't have a format, doesn't have a an outline that he follows. He doesn't break it down or anything like that. He says it just comes to him, and he just writes it out as it comes to him. Um, and it reminded me of stories that I've heard of like musicians, like famous musicians, from classical eras that were able to hear or see the music in their mind and just translate it onto paper. And I thought that was fascinating. And I was just curious of how many other people do that. But the majority of the folks that I ask that question to say the same thing, that they generally outline or at least have a loose outline of how the book is going to lay out from start to finish. But when you do that, though, I mean, it doesn't really give you a lot of space to make changes as you go along.
It does. It does if you use the right software. Because I create my chapters.
Hmm.
I create scenes within the chapters, and then I start writing. But as I move going along, I'm going to go back and insert a bunch of scenes in earlier chapters. I even create a whole new chapter and move scenes around to get into it.
Oh,
Um, it, but you can't do that on Word.
yeah, I've noticed that because I outline my show notes, and I noticed that I have a very, very hard time making any changes and adjustments to it. It just messes up the whole thing. It's horrible. So how did your early arts education shape your approach to storytelling?
Well, included in my arts education, I did a lot of art, actual drawing, pencil, pen and ink, and I did acting. And I think that acting more than anything else, uh, it evolved the way I develop stories. And it just kind of came to me. I was, as I said, my first book I wrote, I didn't do it, I didn't map it out. I just started writing. And that's when I decided I don't want to do it this way anymore. And I started getting a little more uh, uh, controlled and specific. Right now, my current whip, I'm about halfway through it, but I have been adding new people, new scenes, and I change the way people are as I go along. I just kind of listen to my characters and make sure that everybody fits together.
Now, when you do your character development, do you like pattern them off after people that you know, or you just create them in your mind?
I generally create them in my mind. I do have one book. It's a book about a band of musicians, and I did kind of create them, model them after a kind of a conglomerate of some of the musicians I knew. Um, but in general, no, I well, as an example, a book that I recently won an award for started with I had an idea about a character. I didn't have an idea about the story. I had this character idea, and she was real cantankerous. She was super snobby and treated people like dirt.
Mhm.
And so I just started writing the story, thinking, how can I take someone who's so unlovable and make her lovable by the end of the book? And so that whole book was built off the character.
See, to me, I don't know. I don't know if I'd be able to do that. Like just create somebody and and just build up a whole history for them, a whole life and behaviors. I would probably pick people that I know. Like I'm thinking of one person right now who's a good friend of mine, lives back in Maryland, that I would love to characterize in a book someday because he's a character in himself. And I know he's listening and watching right now because I just saw he put something in the live chat. So so I know he's out there.
What did he say? Pick me, pick me.
No, what do you? Well, he put a dancing something in there. I don't know what that is. I can't tell. It's too small. My vision is not so great from that far away. So, now you began writing your books and writing novels later in life. How did that shift feel creatively?
Well, first, it started with I left California.
Mhm.
It was California was getting more and more expensive, and my particular role in the computer industry was kind of disappearing, and new things were coming up, and so I found I had an opportunity. I moved to Arizona, and so there I am with no band. I don't know any of the musicians in Arizona. So nobody's calling me up to, hey, can you come sit in with us and do this gig? So I remembered writing, and I just started writing again. And that's when I asked myself the question, can I possibly write a whole book? How does that happen? And I just set out to do it.
Now, you said you lived in California and then you moved to Denver, right? So are you still living in Denver right now, or
I'm in
you?
Denver now. Yeah.
Now, how does living in Denver influence your work, if at all?
Well, um, there are so many places to go. I used to be very active riding my bike, and getting out in the trails and riding 20 or 40 or even 75 miles at a time. And it's nice to have a safe avenue to do that. And that's one thing that Denver and Colorado offer me. But honestly, my first two books I wrote while I was still in Arizona, or started them in Arizona, and I'm not sure that the location really makes so much of a difference.
So
But I'm going to try.
I was going to say so.
I plan to go to a mountain resort before New Year's and
Nice.
and see how that.
Nice. I have a friend who lives in Colorado. He lives in Walsenburg, I think it is, or yeah, Walsenburg. It's in Werfenau County. Not exactly sure where it is. I've never been there. I know, but I know that's where he lives. And some of this, when I do hear from him on occasion, he tells me some great stories about just how beautiful it is. Just the mountains and the open space and being able to go horseback riding and ranching and all that stuff. So I kind of pictured that in my head as all of Colorado, forgetting that Denver is a big city. But I would figure though that living your environment around you would play more of an inspirational, maybe not inspirational role, but kind of guide your thought process with the creating the scenes.
Well, it doesn't really help with sci-fi. I mean, when I'm creating a world that's in another galaxy, it's
Well,
not
true
really
that,
like
yeah.
this. But I will tell you one thing. Now, I worked in Texas a lot, Amarillo and San Antonio. And one of the things about Texas that you can go out and stand in the middle of nowhere and you turn around and you can see everywhere all around because it's flat. And maybe you'll see a city sticking up on, at the end of the road. I climbed a mountain here in Colorado. We have a lot of mountains called 14ers, and they're 14,000 feet. And I climbed one of them and I stood at the top. And when I spun around, I could see down all the way around. It was like being at the top of the world because everything in the world was below you.
Wow.
And so it is a very different, perspective.
I'd imagine, yeah. That'd be. I would love to see that. Maybe I will someday, but I'll add that to my bucket list. We'll see. We'll see. So now you write across a lot of different genres. Uh, what's your process for, I guess, balancing world building with character?
Well, I don't know if I can answer that because I thought that I was not good at character building or world building until I started reading my reviews. And they're saying that it's really good character building and world and that my process, whatever it is, I have a beginning, an idea for how a story begins, an idea for how it ends. And then I
Mhm.
just try to find a way to get the characters from point A to point B.
Interesting.
And I accidentally did it right.
So when you read, I have to ask because I don't generally read reviews on the show and all that stuff because I'm very hard on myself and I beat myself up a lot. So so if I hear something negative, that's why I joke around about I don't want complaints, in the messages or anything like that. But like how the reviews that you get, I mean, does it? Like, I don't know how I can't read these reviews for myself. How do you do that? I mean, if you get a negative review, I mean, doesn't that trip you up?
Well, it was about a week ago that I got my first negative review.
Oh, wow.
And this is over a dozen books and over 250 reviews. And a reader gave me a 1-star because the book didn't end. The book actually goes into the second book, but the second book isn't published yet because I have to get a new book cover artist.
Okay.
And so, yeah, she gave me a 1-star review because she wanted to see what happened next. That was my first negative review.
But if it's part of a series, don't you? I mean, common sense would tell you have to wait for the next book to come out if it's part of a series. I don't know. That's why I don't get people. That's why I don't read the reviews. Like when I get reviews, I tend not to even bother because I'll see something like that and my snarky ass will turn around and say something and make some kind of a comment back about it. That's just the way I am. So how do you approach?
Yeah. I mean, if I knew where she was, I would send her a copy.
Maybe they're listening and maybe you'll, have the opportunity. I don't know. We'll see. How do you approach revising a long novel versus a serialized one or a serialized story?
Well, according to what I'm hearing about when I'm talking to other authors, I guess I'm fortunate that I actually enjoy reading my books. A lot of authors have told me they hate reading their book. They don't like doing revisions, and they'll do like 3 times through, 3 passes tops, and they're done. I've done as many as 3 dozen revision passes, and the 2 things that stick in my mind is, one, if I become emotional reading the book because maybe there's a love story just happened, or maybe somebody just survived a terrible possible life ending thing, and if it moves me and I'm into it, I know that I've done something right. Because if it can, I know what's going to happen, and if I can feel that way, then I'm sure the reader is going to feel that way. And that really gets me through my revision. The other thing is that I just keep revising until I get all the way through, and I haven't made any significant changes. If I haven't had to change a scene, change a character's mood, I get all the way through, then I know it's done, it's ready.
What do you think makes your fantasy and sci-fi stand out from others in the field?
All I can tell you is what my reviewers have said, and they say that that a lot of my stories are unique, different, and I hope more people will come to understand that. I just because I'm not reading a lot anymore. I'm writing. I don't have time to read. And so I'm just pouring it out of my heart, putting it on the page, and what everything on my page is not being influenced by any other writers. It's just me.
Yeah, I can understand that too because I used to swallow podcasts. All I would do is listen to podcasts. I can't listen to anything anymore. I don't have time to do it because I'm busy doing the shows and then show prep. So I totally get you on that one. Now you've won awards for your work. When you get these awards, what does that recognition mean to you?
Um, I have to be. I have to understand where is this award coming from, how serious are these people before I give it too much depth. But it is recognition, and I don't know that it's better recognition than my reviews. Um, but I do get a photo opportunity out of it.
That's good. At least you get something, right? Um,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I sometimes I think about the idea of awards and things like that. I don't know if I care for those so much. I would rather know that the audience appreciates the work that comes into putting out a product. And to me to get that recognition from the folks that are consuming the material is more important than getting professional recognition. I don't maybe I'm crazy about that, but that's just me. I would rather know that my audience right now is happy with the product that we're putting out than to have somebody, "Oh, you won the podcaster of the hour award," or whatever it is. So I understand you on that one. Now I wanna get into your books. So, tell us a little bit about the project that you're working on right now.
Oh, right now I am writing the fifth and final episode to my Lost Art of Magic series.
Okay.
And the Lost Art of Magic starts off with the premise is that magic used to be real.
Mm,
1,000 years ago, it was real. Everyone knew it, and there was no question. But something happened, and it disappeared. And over the centuries, we've come to think it was no. Well, of course, it can't be real because we have science now, and that was just a myth. Well, a girl, a 16-year-old girl living in the bayou, who is descended from the witch clan. She's visiting her ancestral memories and accidentally comes back with the real power. And that just unlocks the power for everybody. Um, and really, the story is based around some not very nice people don't want the witch clan to have the power, and so they're sending in mercenaries to go kill her. But that starts off the 5-book series. And what I'm writing now is about the librarians. It's a secret cult that keeps appearing every now and then, and they're from the
mm.
future. And um, so now I'm finally closing the loop, saying how they could transit time and what are the effects when they do.
And this is a 5-part series?
Yes.
How long has it taken you to get to this point, writing this particular series?
Well, I wrote the first book probably in 2012,
Okay.
maybe 2010. But I take about a year per book,
I was gonna ask
and
you that.
I took time off from it to write others, and um, every now and then I'm thinking I just gotta have new characters, something different, especially since in one of the books that was supposed to be book 3, um, it was getting more and more involved, and it was getting longer and longer, and I finally realized I had to split it into 2 books. I couldn't. It would be just too big to be one volume.
Mhm.
So that was a long time because splitting it up means I have to take all these threads from this book, put them over here, and these threads go over here, and make sure that I don't talk about something that happens in book 2 while I'm still in book 1. So that was a lot of
And
revisions.
I can imagine, especially over the course of 4 books and now number 5. Now, you said you took a break from writing this particular series, and you've written other things. You also have a trilogy that you wrote, uh, a virus trilogy, and
Yes.
and the virus trilogy blends technology or tech and fiction. And how did you get that idea? Where did that come from?
Well, it came from a program I wrote years ago. I wrote a program that simulated genetics, and I created 2 chromosomes and 2,000 genes, and I created just a colorful creature, square, but with colors and patterns. And I was able to take those patterns, and by selective breeding, to breed them into an actual, not a species, but like a dog type, and that was the inspiration for the book, because that plays a large, the genetics plays a large role in what this young college student did, that ultimately woke an alien artificial intelligence.
I like the idea of this story. I like this. I love the theme of that. I love that combination of putting those ideas and thoughts together. What are the themes that you want readers to take away from this series, this trilogy series?
Well, I did not notice this when I was writing it, but both my my Magic series and my Virus series they both have these subtle undertones about the patriarchy and misogyny, and how it affects people's lives. And so I'm getting a little bit less subtle about it. I'm actually putting it out there, and it's almost like I go, oh yeah, the bad guys are all men, the good guys are all girls. I'm not doing that, but it's kind of dividing them that way.
Now, when you were writing this trilogy, how long did it take you to put this all together and revise this one? Because I know you started with the 5-part series in 2012, and here it is, 2025, almost 26, and you're still working on that series. You're still working on book number 5. How long did it take you to do the trilogy and with all the revisions?
I would say altogether about 3.5 years.
So about a year a book. Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
Now your books mix a lot of action. They mix humor. They mix satirical elements, and is that an intentional blend?
A lot of it is the action, mixing the action and the humor. I'm definitely putting that in intentionally. The satire came as a surprise, because it's basically I'm building this story about these things that are happening to these characters, and it was like an analogy of things that are happening here, and I'm talking about troubles with a emperor and the struggles he has with warring nations, and it came out sounding a lot like what's going on in the world now.
I love when stories just seem so timeless, and they actually you can take something in a particular story and apply it to what's going on, whether it's current events or recent events. To me, that just makes the book more enjoyable to read. It makes it easier to relate to, and I love writers that do that. It's to me that's incredible talent, and with this particular trilogy that you wrote, is there anything else that's going to be coming up after this, or as far as the same theme, or are you just going to be focusing on the 5-parter?
Yeah, it'll be new stuff. After the 5-part, I have another 3-part to finish. Because this story comes to an end of all ends. The digital character, digital intelligence, he ends up meeting the creator, and they have a conversation, and they have a conversation about how the universe works, how it was created, and how it will be recreated again in a gagillion years, So I can't go anywhere after that. His his journey has come to an end that will go on forever.
I see. So what's the other 3-parter that you're working on?
The other 3-part I'm working on is about life 10 or 12,000 years ago. Mankind is becoming somewhat civilized, living in communities, having huts, and starting to domesticate some animals, but also still living in a world that has woolly mammoths and saber cats. And I didn't do this intentionally, but I created 13 tribes. And apparently 13 tribes is somewhat meaningful in many of our old religions. So one of these tribes is located in a valley, a very secretive valley, hard to get to. And there's a great flood. There's always a great flood that wipes them out, and they have to leave, and they're looking for their ancestral home. And the leader has the dreams, and he sees a white eagle leading him to the ancestral mountains. And the series starts with man versus nature. It's how difficult it is to survive against cave bears and saber cats, and how difficult it is to survive. The second book in the series is about man versus man, where they start to find, they're meeting other tribes, and some of those tribes are slave takers, and so there's conflicts there as they meet both good and bad tribes. The third one, which I've only got like 9 or 10 chapters written, is more about man versus God, or man versus magic or the ether or something. It's just and honestly, it's been so long since I've worked on that. I have to go back and reread the whole thing before I can continue finishing it. But I better do that, or my reviewer's going to get mad again if I don't have it finished.
There you go. I was going to ask you. I mean, it must be hard to put something down for a period of time, start working on something else, and then jump back into where you left off with the previous. So you do end up having to go back and reread everything, huh?
Yeah, and I've done that a couple of times. And I have another book on the shelf that takes place in South America in prehistoric times, and I've already written some of it, but I have to go back and that's another good reason to do the outlines. Is I do have outlines for it, and I can go back and read what I've done and figure out what's coming up with the outlines.
Now, I just had a question that just flipped out of my head. I'm sorry. It'll come back to me.
I talked too long.
No, not at all. No, not at all. It had to do with getting back into rereading everything. It'll come back to me. It'll come back. Now, what do you think is one misconception that people have about genre authors?
Well, I will say that there was a misconception that you should pick one genre and stick to it. And that may work for a lot of people because you're building up only one audience. But I don't do that. I write really what's from my inspiration, and it's honest, I put it out there and it's take it or leave it. So far it's all been well taken. But yeah, I'm not sticking to a single genre. And another misconception is there's so many people publishing books now. And sadly, they're not all good. And that kind of puts a stain on independent authors.
Yeah. I can understand that. I remember the question I was going to ask you. So from the time that you started actually devoting your time to writing predominantly to this point, how many books have you actually written and published?
I think I'm around 12, maybe. Well, okay. I have 2 of them that I took out of publication because I wanted to redo them and re-edit, but altogether, I think I'm at 12 or 13.
That's quite a bit. That's quite a bit over a period of time, and that's I got to give you credit for that. I don't know if I'd be able to do it, to be honest with you. I really don't. So all right. So let's imagine for a second here that I am an aspiring writer, that I'm looking to get started doing this thing and devoting some time to it. And what advice would you give me?
I don't want to be harsh, but I would say if you don't love what you're writing,
Mhm.
then maybe it's not for you. You should love what you're putting on your page. You should love the stories you're creating. You should love your characters, even your evil characters. You should love them and be able to put them out in their best sides of them. I also say show their emotions. Don't
Mhm.
just tell me what they did, and don't tell me they're angry. Show me how angry they are. Give me some conflict in their head. Show me that they're fighting and wrestling with something.
So give them more depth.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Now, if you weren't writing books, what would you be doing today?
I would probably still be trying to play music. I still have all my pianos. I have several pianos, and I'd probably I hear the music in my head all the time. It never goes away. It keeps me awake at nights. I have medications to allow me to sleep, and yeah, I'd probably still be playing music.
Um, but when I came up with the question for that, I was kind of thinking about it myself. What would I be doing right now if I wasn't doing what I do? And I don't know. Honestly, I honestly don't know. I love what I'm doing. I mean, I do have a regular job outside of this, but this is what I love to do. I love to do the podcast. I love to meet people. And I know my audience is going to say, "Oh, here he goes again. He's going to start talking this stuff again." The truth of the matter is that I learn something from everybody that I chat with, and I've met a lot of people that I probably never would have come across in my life through this medium. And I, if I could do this as, my profession every single day, this is all I do, and I would be so happy. It's not realistic in a lot of ways, unless you're like a Joe Rogan type guy and you get this, multi-million-dollar contract and you could, sit pretty for the rest of your life. It's not the easiest thing to do, but for sure, this is something that I would love to be able to do all the time and just focus my attention to this entirely. And so I guess this is similar to what you're saying. You got to love what you're doing if you're going to be successful at it. You got to love what you're doing if you're going to make any kind of an impact. Whether it's writing a book, whether it's writing for your local newspaper, whether it's doing a podcast or whatever it is. You got to really love and appreciate the opportunity that you have to do it, and that's something that's where I am on this. I love this. I've loved our conversation tonight. I thought this was great. I've learned a few things from you today, and just like every other guest that I've had, I always pull something away, and it's made me a more rounded person, I think. It's in a lot of ways it's inspiring for me too, because I hear you talk about writing and developing these lives. You're creating people. It's kind of smacks of the of the God syndrome there. You have the ability to create and build a whole world and a whole life and a whole everything around it. And it's inspiring to me. It makes me think, well, maybe I should sit down and try to write. Maybe I should pull those outlines out and see what I can put together here one day. And and not use AI to write. I think that's another problem today with writing. People are so dependent now on AI. It's now. What do you feel about that as a professional writer when you see people crank out these books and you could tell a lot of times when you read some of these things that that's not a perfect writing.
I see these ads on TikTok all the time about you can write a book in 5 minutes. And I'm like, well, no, you're not writing the book. You're just, spewing out. And everything that the AI puts out is coming from other people's books, my books, Charles Dickens books. It's not original. And so, no, I do not like the idea of using AI to create a book. I don't like the idea of using AI to create a painting that you want to put up in a museum.
Oh, for sure.
I will use AI to do marketing.
Mhm.
And I'm just learning how to try to create marketing animations to try to, promote my books. But, and there are places where AI has a wonderful place to be, and that's in medicine,
Mhm.
in diagnosis, but not in the creative world. And by the way, I was going to say, if you did not enjoy doing your podcast, it would show.
Yeah,
You
I
would
agree.
you would look miserable having to drag yourself back onto the mic, and yeah.
Absolutely. Although I do have some friends who tell me sometimes I look absolutely like blah when I'm sitting here listening to a guest or something, and I'm like, no, it's not that. I'm watching things. I'm watching the stream. I'm watching this. I'm watching that. I'm making sure everything's still working. I'm making sure the audio is good while you're talking. I hear everything you're saying. I understand, and I'm following along. Sometimes I get a little lost. I'll be honest with you. Sometimes I get a little tripped up myself. I'm not sure where to pick it up at that point.
If you look blah, that's because I'm not doing my job. I should
No,
be
no.
entertaining you.
Well, also, and in my defense on this one, and my friend who's listening knows I'm talking to them, not the one I was telling you about before, somebody else. I do work. I have another job, and sometimes, I have a rough day. Then I come home and I set up the studio here and I do the show. It's not, it's not the easiest thing sometimes, but although I will say this, I did have a guest one time. This is just between me and you. I did have a guest on one night that was so boring that I could not follow along, and I think at one point I not that I literally fell asleep, but I started daydreaming
Mhm.
while he was talking, and he stopped, and I didn't pick up that he stopped talking. And I was like, and I came back to it. I was like, oh, okay, well, look at that. Look at the time. It's time to go. you know, but it was so embarrassing. It was terrible. And my apologies to the gentleman but this was way back in the day. This is early on.
You know, years ago, and I'm thinking maybe 60s, possibly 70s, there was a independent film made with the express purpose of showing boredom, and it was boring, and it bored the audience, and while it did what he intended to do, that's a terrible way to go
Yeah,
and show boredom.
exactly. I agree with you. So let me ask you this, because my next guest should be popping in any minute now. Um, as a writer, what still surprises you about the work that you're doing today?
Um, every now and then, I come up with an idea, or more precisely, one of my characters suggests an idea to me that makes me go way back and change all these places up until I got there. And when I finish that, I'm looking at like, yeah, yeah, that was right. And so sometimes I'm surprised with how well they twist and interact.
It's
I just
interesting you
like
said that. But it's interesting you said that your character suggested something to you. Do you have conversations with your characters? That's what it seems
not
like.
I'm not
Not
that
in a
crazy,
conventional sense. I know
but
that, but
no, it's like as I'm writing them and as they're doing things, I'm developing the way they do things, the way they talk to people. And as I'm doing that, I'm figuring out, you know, if my character going to do this and that at this point in the book, I should go back and change the way he did this other thing because it'll be more concise and it'll work together. So the suggestions are more like, I have an idea for him, and I'm not having conversations.
So you're not talking to yourself.
Well, maybe if I'm running a fever and having too much Benadryl or something, maybe.
I usually get like that when I've had too much bourbon. I talk to myself, and I get some of the best answers though. Some of the best conversations I've had with myself. So I wouldn't be disappointed if you said that. Yeah, they talk to you. But so tell me something. Who is someone that you respect right now, and what are they doing that inspires you?
Oh, okay. This is a little selfish. I really like Anne Hathaway. I like, I like what she stands for. I like the movies she's done. And if she's listening to your show, I have a book for her. I think she'd be fabulous in it. But like I said, that's self-serving.
That's okay. You plug, get whatever plug you can out there. That's fine. I don't mind at all. But yes, Anne Hathaway. She's a very talented actress, and I've enjoyed her movies immensely. And so yeah, that's a good one. I like that. That's very good. All right, Jonni. So where can we go to find out more about you and your work and follow you along and your social media presence and all that great stuff?
I'm on TikTok as Jonni_Jordyn. And I'm it's the easiest way to find my books is just to go to Amazon and search for Jonni Jordyn. That's Jonni with an I, Jordan with a Y. But I do have a website, www.jordanatlargebooks.com. So
I think we have that. Yeah.
There's 3 ways to find me.
Perfect. I know we have your website in our show notes. It's already loaded up there. So when the show publishes later on, it'll be there. And we'll get your link to your Amazon. If you can just send it over to me. You have my email address. So you could just email that to me and I'll get it included in the show notes as well. And Jonni, this was great. I really appreciate you taking the time to be here with us tonight. This was a lot of fun. And I'm looking forward to getting more into your books. And I'm really intrigued. Like, I'm really interested in the trilogy we were just talking about. And I'm going to try to get into the 5-parter. I got a lot of catching up to do, but I'm going to try to get into that as well. Looking forward to it, actually. Really am.
I should have the 5th one out by the end of 26.
Outstanding. Jonni, thank you again. Really do appreciate you being here tonight. Any parting words? Anything that you want to grace us with for the holidays?
Wow. Yeah. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. All the happies. And I know it's a difficult time for a lot of people, especially when you're alone in these days, but I wish everyone the best. And I know that I personally am looking forward to getting married after the New Year. So it's next year's going to be a wonderful year.
I think so too. I think you're absolutely right. So congratulations on the pending nuptials, and I wish you the best. And we'll have you back on soon.
And yeah, anytime, ask me to come back, I'll be back.
You got it. We'll do. All right. Jonni Jordyn, thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon. All right. Folks, Jonni Jordyn, hope you enjoyed that conversation. That was really, and it's like, I know it sounds like a broken record, but I always pick up something from every guest that we have. And Jonni's no different whatsoever. So she actually, the fact that she's able to go from, writing a 5-part back to a 3-part and then go pick up where she left off somewhere else. I mean, that just, it makes me kind of want to do it too. So we're going to think about that somewhere down the line. All right. So folks, we're going to take a little break here. And then when we come back from our break, we're going to have our second hour guest here with us, Tony Bradshaw. And we're looking forward to sitting down and talking to Tony. And don't forget, folks, this is a live show weeknights, 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And when we come back from this break, we'll jump in here with Tony. So don't forget, please like, subscribe, and share the show with your friends, your family, and your followers. It helps with the algorithm. It helps people find the show. So please do that. And we'll be back after this. Stay with us.
Twist.
All righty. First hour is in the books, and we are coming back here to catch up with Tony Bradshaw once he reconnects. It looks like he's having some connection problems down below, but we'll get him up here shortly. So, folks, hope you enjoyed the first hour. Jonni Jordyn. Fantastic. Check out our books. Make sure you get them. Good stuff. All right, folks, don't forget, this is the Joe Rooz Show, and we are broadcasting live tonight from the Asylum Studios here in Eagle Pass, Texas. The pimple on the backside of Texas, as we like to say. We got a lot of ground to cover tonight, for sure, my friends. We have Tony, still waiting for Tony to connect. He's having some issues there right now. And then in the third hour, yes, that's right, we are going to have a third hour tonight. We have Wayne Rankin going to be joining us from the People's Republic of Washington State. And so we're looking forward to talking to Wayne. We haven't spoke to him in quite some time. So hopefully he'll be able to jump on here this evening. We have the time booked. He said he was going to be here. We'll see. And I don't know if Tony's still there. I don't know if he's able to connect. Is he there? There he is. Okay. All right. Well, just a couple of quick reminders here as before we get started, make sure Tony's stable. Just don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the show with your friends, your family, your followers. Again, like I said, it helps with the algorithm, helps us get found. So please do that. Please make sure you like, subscribe, and share. And we are looking to hit 520 before the year ends. I know you're like, well, you still got plenty of time before the year ends. Yeah, well, it's not easy building an audience. So we're at 518 as of the start time today. So we want to hit 520 here on Rumble before the year's end, and I'm pretty sure we can do that. And we're excited to do that. And also, listen, if you're watching on Rumble on YouTube, actually, like I said earlier in the show, you really should come over to Rumble. Rumble's a much better platform. It truly is. And the more people we get here on Rumble, the better off it's going to be overall. So come on over to Rumble. My handle's right down there at the bottom, rumble.com/Joe Rooz. Hit that follow button and stick with us here. This is our home base. This is where we stream from, and this is where we like to be. So if anything else ever fails, we'll always be here on Rumble. Free speech platform, my friends. Free speech platform. Check them out, rumble.com. All right. Well, with all of that said, tonight here on the show, on the second hour of the show, let me just fix this quickly. There we go. I don't remember doing this already, but there we go. All right. Well, folks, here at the second hour of the show tonight, we have with us, joining us, is someone who brings a rare combination of financial transformation, digital leadership, and no-nonsense life strategy. Tony Bradshaw, the author of The Millionaire Choice, host of The Millionaire Choice Show, and founder of the Purpose of Wealth Life event series. Now, Tony didn't grow up with money. In fact, by 25, he realized he was on the same financial trajectory he saw at home. Messy, stressful, directionless. Instead of accepting that fate, he created a plan, got money smart, and hit his millionaire goal by the age of 40. On top of all his financial expertise, Tony spent more than 2 decades in high-level business leadership roles, director, VP, CIO, COO, including leading the digital transformation at the Dave Ramsey organization and helping grow the company from $3 million to $125 million. Today, Tony teaches people to make the millionaire choice, to give their money purpose, upgrade their habits, and build the strategy and mindset needed for abundance. Tony Bradshaw, welcome to the show.
Joe, you make me sound better. I should let you talk to my wife.
Well, I think your wife probably wrote this.
I wish she wrote that. Yeah. No, she's a simple woman. She takes care of the family, takes care of the babies, and she does a great job of it.
Outstanding. Now, you were supposed to be on the show, I think last week or the week before, and we weren't able to get connected, but we spoke afterwards off to the side there, and we had a great conversation, spanned, I think it went an hour and a half, like totally flawlessly, effortlessly, like 2 old buddies hanging out, just shooting the shit. So
yeah. You kept me up past my bedtime for sure.
Well, I am a night owl. I'm sorry. I am sorry. And tonight we have a 3-hour show tonight. So after we're finished with you, we have another guest coming on at 9:00. So it's to be a packed night tonight. Packed night. Now, Tony. First of all, tell us a little. I know I just read your bio and all that stuff, but that's the publicist stuff that gets sent out there. Tell us about yourself. Give us some background here.
Yeah, man. I grew up in Nashville. I've been in Nashville my whole life. Talked to my wife about moving. She said no. So I guess I'm going to die here in Nashville. She came from Wyoming. But yeah, I grew up in a low-income family, man. It's interesting. We talked a lot about Jesus, I think, on the last call.
We did.
I look back over my life and look at what my cousins' lives are like and the family's lives. And I'm like, man, Jesus, our family is a great example of what Jesus can do in a person's life and in a family's life. My dad, my mom became Christians. Jesus came into our family's life when I was 6 years old. All of a sudden, my dad, who was ex-military, Vietnam, alcoholic, my mom, who came from broken families, my dad, who came from broken families, like all of these things just changed, and it's like overnight. And then all of a sudden I look at the trajectory of my life and I look at the path of those in the other parts of our family. And it's a very stark, difference. And I'd heard that before, but I just witnessed it firsthand. We lived it out. But, my parents they didn't grow up in wealthy households, both divorced, broken homes, which comes with a whole lot of complications in families. One of the worst things ever happened to a family is, two people can't stay together, and it's for different reasons. It happens.
It's unfortunate, but it does. Yeah.
Yeah. But, just sharing with mine, I mean, I'll just share a little bit of craziness in our family because we all got crazy families. My mom, I remember one specific story of hearing my mom talk about watching my alcoholic father or grandfather strangling my mother or grandmother with a phone cord. Didn't kill her, just, abuse, just abuse.
Just abuse.
Yeah.
He didn't kill anyone. Nobody was murdered or anything. Just everyday abuse.
Yeah, just the average thing, and that just gives you a little taste of what that side of the family is like. The other side of the family, love my family, but my dad's over in Vietnam, and he's getting letters from his mom about my mom cheating on my dad, which was untrue, while he's over there trying to fight and survive in Vietnam, and then who he thought was my father, my grandfather, was in the casket, and that's when my dad found out that wasn't his dad in the casket and had no idea who his dad really was. So, when you talk about dysfunction, I think I was 26 at that time. My dad might've been 46 when he found out. And so that's just a little bit of the crazy. It's all there. But the reason I say that is because that's a recipe for like a very train wreck of a life, Yeah. And our life didn't, my family didn't turn out that. I've got 6 awesome kids. I went off to school for engineering. I, first generation. I think my mom went to college for a little while. My dad dropped out of school in 10th grade. She didn't graduate with a degree. I think she might have gotten an associate's degree in bookkeeping or something like that. But I was the first college graduate of our line in our generation. So, and I don't think there's any in the past. And I liked math. I liked cars. Rebuilt my first car engine at like 15. So, I figured that sounded like engineering. So I went off and studied engineering, came out, did that for a few years, and then got into computers. Just fell in love with technology and what you could do with data. When you could share data I think it was like 1997 or 98 is when I built my first website. And I built it for the company I worked for. And then that ended up just knowing enough was able to get me in the door at Dave Ramsey's because I realized I didn't want to be an engineer. I wanted to get in technology. So I applied for Dave Ramsey's. And the only reason I got hired is because I was $15,000 cheaper than the next guy in line. and Dave likes a budget. He likes to keep people on the budget. So he saved 15 grand. Yeah. And we were, it was early days. It was like 2000. Nobody knew what they were doing with the internet really. Right. And so I went in there and worked, and then, God lifted me up. I became a leader in his company, ended up making it onto the board of directors in 2012, one of 9 people, Dave plus 8 leading the company. And I was able to do that for about 4 years. And then I got kicked out. As I say, I got voted off the island, and it was my time to go. I thought I was going to be a lifer, die and retire there. Right. And then God had other plans and brought me back into personal finance, where I really have done most of my learning about money. I love Dave's program. He's a smart man. God gave him the task of making it simple for people because most people don't have any concept of the basics, doing a budget, doing any kind of investing whatsoever. And they're on the gerbil wheel. It's just to keep running and go nowhere. And that's where most people are. And so he is the best in the world at getting people to do something with their money that they weren't doing. But God's calling on me is actually help people with wealth and build abundance and wealth. And so it's a little bit different. It's a little bit daunting because I never saw myself doing that. But, as God often does, he'll come knocking and guide you where he wants you to be as long as you're willing to surrender. And so that's been my journey, and I've been married 27 years, Joe, and I was bad to my wife for about 18. And good for about the last, probably like since about 2017, I've been pretty good or better. I will say better. She probably wouldn't say good. She might say good for about 3 of those, but yeah, I left her with a lot of wounds, man. And I'm having to make up for it, but I'm looking forward to spoiling her for all. My 6 kids are 14 to 25 and 3 boys, 3 girls, and just all freaking amazing, so blessed.
Yeah, and I was just going to comment about what you said with your wife, and I don't say this flippantly or anything like that. The fact that she stuck with you after, because you shared with me some of the stuff that took place, and that's not for our discussion here tonight. But you shared a few things with me, and the fact that she stayed with you through all of that and is still by your side and still helping you and still working with you, the help meet for you that God provided for you, that's a testimony right there. And that's a great story, you know, and the fact that she did that, and you know, I got to give you guys credit. You know, a lot of marriages fall apart for lesser things, you know. They
do. And I've probably had 12 friends this year that have gone through that or dealing with it or trying to salvage it. Yeah. And it, you know, sometimes I think it's a little bit of their fault. Sometimes I think it's no fault of their own. It just is. And you know, it's hard, man. It's hard. I talked to a young man today. Actually, I was coaching a guy, a 23-year-old young man. His mom and dad got divorced. We didn't go into why they got divorced, just that they did, but he grew up raised by his mom. And so, you know, when that happens, you know, because sadly, you end up spending more time with one parent or the other. But in society wise, and this is a I would just call it, man. It's just a demonic attack, satanic attack. It's part of the dark kingdom's plan. You know, I don't care what your listeners think about that. If they make fun of me or whatever, I grew up kind of like, oh, you're over religious. You're too religious. Now I see it. I know it. I know what they're doing. I know how it works. I mean, I know the whole ins and outs of it. It's all planned. Like everything's planned. The music that does it, the video, the TV, all the stuff, the introduction of sex into the video, the movies. You couldn't even remember. You probably remember this, Joe. As a young guy, couldn't get your hands on porn.
Yeah,
you got your hands on the Sears catalog with the girls in the bras.
That's right. That's actually that's absolutely correct. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. And then now, dang man, you got an iPhone, and you got unlimited porn, no matter what your age is. Unlimited access. That's all by design, man. I got YouTube when I found out my kids got got exposed to porn through YouTube. It blew my mind, because what I found out is that the algorithms actually can identify the children, and then they lead the children down a little path. And as they give them a little bait, a little bit more bait, a little bit more bait, and then, you know, that's where they end up. So anyway, that's kind of the soapbox I'm on a little bit right now when it comes to families.
Well, no, it's an important soapbox to be on. I think pornography is detrimental to a marriage, is detrimental to a stable family. You know, it's not an accurate representation of what, if you want to go biblical, it's not an accurate representation of what a biblical marriage or love or physical intimacy is supposed to be. You know, it's and you know, and the thing is too, it's like I've seen it. I'm not gonna pretend I haven't. But you know, it gets worse and more degraded as time goes on.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
what it takes to satisfy your mind is that you go down that depravity. I had a guy when I got out of college. I was anti all that stuff. Still am. I've always been anti that, but I was very kind of clean cut. Call it pure if you want to call it pure. I was about as naive in the ways of the world as you could be at like a 23-year-old.
Yeah.
But I had a guy that I worked with, and he literally told me about how he would get off work, go home, flip on his computer, and he would turn his computer on, and it would go into these websites back then, and it would just start downloading porn images that people had uploaded.
Mm-hmm.
And he would go eat dinner with his wife and stuff, and then get done with his dinner, and then go through his porn.
Yeah.
And I actually talked to him about Jesus. He was a former Catholic, and I believe he's former Catholic at that time. And talked to him about Jesus, talked about all that stuff. And then he heard me and listened, didn't really act at that point. But later on, he came back to me and told me about some of the stuff he had seen. He's like, I can't unsee that.
Yeah.
It was so bad. I won't describe it because it's just grotesque. No. But when he had his daughter, that's when everything switched for him, because he was like, oh my gosh, this is my daughter. I love my daughter. She's cherished her. She's my little princess. Those girls are somebody else's daughter.
That's right. Yeah.
And so that's what caused him to shift. And then he came back into, you know, his faith and stuff. But it's a demonic thing. It's an attack. And it destroys families, destroys men. 50%, divorce rate. It wasn't, God didn't intend it to be that way, but our society has been so broken down because of the enemy's tactics, and we're just so vulnerable because we don't understand them. And then our wives get, vulnerable. Not to talk about feminism too much, Joe. And I may be talking on so many different crazy things here, because I thought I knew what feminism was all about. And then I realized, my buddy came up to me. He teaches people things. He's like, no, feminism is a communistic tactic to tear down the American families.
It is.
Yeah. And it was structured because it disrupts the family, disrupts the view. And then I was naive enough to go, oh, well, I can spot an extreme feminist, right? That's easy to see. What's harder to see is how variations of feminism, the bad kind of it, have crept into the Christian families and Christian churches.
Yes.
And it's much more subtle, but still is disruptive. And I didn't really understand that. But when you start going, okay, what's broken I'm learning to be a patriarch in my family. Some people listen to the show may hate that word. It's been demonized. We don't want the patriarch. Well, you want a patriarch. You just don't want a bad patriarch, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You want a good patriarch. A good patriarch goes, hey, what's my family going to look like in 1,000 years? Let's set it up for success. Let's set the next 8 generations, 10 generations, 20. Let's set that up. Let's figure out what that looks like. He's a protector. He's an enabler. He's a builder up. He brings us up to our highest standard. Unfortunately, there's a lot of stuff out there that keeps us from living up to those standards. And I'm trying to, learn what that looks like for my family. My dad was a great provider for our family. He wasn't the greatest leader. Mm-hmm. And I used my dad as my standard.
It's hard to find a good balance in that.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah. And we're not taught because the enemy doesn't want us to know these things. It doesn't want us to know how to do that, because when you learn how to be a good patriarch, you see your family ascend to a higher level. Mm-hmm. Everything in this world, most everything, is structured to cause a downward spiral, not an upward spiral. I was thinking about, you probably get into this, school. It's like, why weren't we taught about money in school? Mm-hmm. It's a pretty simple thing to go, hey, you need to learn about money. You need to learn how to invest. You need to learn how to build wealth. It does not take a rocket scientist to figure that out. So why, if I can figure it out, and I'm not even that smart, my IQ is not that great, surely somebody can figure out that needs to be taught in schools.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that aren't taught in schools that need to be taught in schools. Wealth building, number one. And this isn't in any particular order, but wealth building, simple basic economics, how to manage a household. Those things used to be taught in school, in public school.
Yeah, home ec class, right?
Not anymore. Not anymore. I remember when I was in public school and when I was a kid growing up, they had home economics classes, and that just slowly just kind of phased out, and didn't even notice it at any point. But just basic things on how to run a home, how to balance your checkbook. Some basic. I forgot what they called it when I was in school, but it was just that. It was a class that you would take. It was part of your curriculum where they taught you how to balance a checkbook, how to manage your home finances. And yeah, I guess you could say it was under home economics, but there was another name for the class. I just don't remember what it was. And gone. They don't teach that anymore. Just like they don't teach American history anymore. They teach a revisionist version of American history now. Where the imperial colonizers, the evil patriarchy and all that stuff. They don't teach how great of a generation we had that founded this country. They don't teach that anymore. Now they teach them, they were just evil white males that fostered slavery and built on the country was built on the backs of slaves, and that's so not true. Mm-hmm. None of that is true. Were there slaves? Yes, that was the culture of the day. Unfortunate as it was, absolutely. Wrong, absolutely. But that was the culture of the day, and this country did everything it could in its power and fought a war to put an end to it. Well, although I don't necessarily think that was the main reason for the war. I think it had some economics and financial purposes more so.
So you want to talk about that a little bit? You want to talk about that?
They just we will. But they just tacked that on, to put a different face on it.
Yeah.
And look, I'm from the North. I'm from New York. And I still say it's the war of Northern aggression. So.
Well, can I add something onto that?
Yes, please do.
Something I learned about. Yeah, so this goes back to finances, which I'm somewhat knowledgeable about. Yeah, and this is stuff I didn't know before, but there's a great book for your readers, and I recommend the audiobook over the paperback because it's a long, grueling read. But a book called The Creature from Jekyll Island by G. Edward Griffin.
Oh, I've heard of it.
Yeah, well, when I read that book, some of the things G. Edward talks about is a lot of good stuff.
Mhm.
I'll give you the Civil War thing, and then I'll go back to an even older war. Okay, so in the Civil War, what ended up happening, part of it was you had the global bankers backing the South against the North.
Mhm.
So they were trying to break down the United States at that point so that they could come and take the resources and properties. Okay. So England and France were supposed to come into that war on the behalf of the South. Do you know what stopped them?
Tell us.
Russia. They put a naval, they brought their navy in.
A naval blockade.
And France and England said, we are not going to war with Russia. And so at that point, as the story goes, the Rothschild's bankers, one of them, I forget the gentleman's name, supposedly swore an oath at that point to murder the Russian Tsar's family and the whole lineage, which happened, I believe it was, I forget what year it was. It was 1819. It was, or no, 1919. I'm sorry, 1919. So we had our Civil War, 1860s, and then went in, and then they were able to go in and usurp Russia, and then murder Tsar Nicholas.
Yeah.
And that was all backed by the bankers. So, and what makes that so interesting, G. Edward covers this too, is that let's go back to the French Revolution, right? French Revolution, according to G. Edward Griffin, there was an uprising, and it was, I think it was 1870. So it was after our stuff. I may be wrong on the date. Don't quote me on the dates. Don't quote me on the dates because I'm off on the dates because it was older. It's like 1700s. I think it's 1780s. There was an uprising, and the French king, forget which one it was,
Louis.
said, don't fire on my people. Don't fire on my people, because they were coming in like, this is a dangerous thing. And he's, let me go talk to my people. So he goes out, talks to the people. They say, what do you want, my people? What do you want, my people? He goes, we want a Bill of Rights like the United States has, this stuff. So he created a Bill of Rights for them that was apparently superior to what we had in the United States. That uprising was actually backed again by the bankers, right? So then when he's at the Palace of Versailles, he only has about 200 of his troops there. They come and do it again. They started down. I think it was simmered down for about 6 months. They started back up, brought all these people in. He tries to go out there and talk to him again, but he's missing the game. It's not a naturally occurring thing that he can quell. It's a instigated thing that he has no control over. So the bankers go in, back him. So he gets killed. Marie Antoinette gets killed. You have 5 million of the 15 million French people die over the next decade. In comes Napoleon, calms everything down, puts every structure back in, kicks the global bankers, the central banks, out of France, takes France out of debt, starts running the government without debt. Then he goes off to fight this war, does the Louisiana Purchase, goes off to fight this war, in West. Supposedly, some people say it was against Russia. Some people say he was actually fighting with Russia. The reason they say that is because you can find money in Russia that has the Russian Tsar's face on it, but also Napoleon's face on the same coin.
Really?
Front and back.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And so you don't put your enemy's face on your money.
Of course not.
Right. So it was a tribute, like a tribute coin is what they're saying. So that they believe he was actually fighting with Russia against another enemy. And and that's not listed in history. It's kind of been blacked out of history. So anyway, while he's over there fighting, the bankers are backing the Duke of Wellington out of the UK to come in with gold, and they start raising another army. So then Napoleon comes back, gets in another battle. His troops are already tired. He loses that war, and then bankers come right back into France.
Wow.
There's a lot more I could share with you. It's crazy stuff, dude.
No, that's and we'll save all that for another show because I definitely want to have you come on again at some point. But I want to get into some of the stuff I wanted to talk to you about. your background, your the financial transformation, leadership. I want to get into all of that stuff, and I'm watching the clock, and I want to run out of time. So you spent like 20 years in high level business roles, like I said in your intro, director, VP, CIO, COO. What leadership lessons have from those roles shaped your financial philosophy for today?
Yeah, probably the biggest thing I learned during that whole time is care about your people, man. Like, and I saw Dave do that. Like Dave, he is. How do I say this? He's probably not the most genius person you ever met, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he did some really key things that a lot of major corporations don't do well. And one of the coolest things, once I got a little bit older and understood the power of it, was when he was, started his business, I think 1991. And then when I got there, it was probably about $3 million. So 2001 is when I joined. It was about $3 million. That same year, he only had 33 to 50 employees. That's it. And he instituted a training program because he said, I'm either going to have to hire leaders from outside my company or grow my leaders from within. So that first year I was there, he put together a 26-week training program that was basically everything he knew about business.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were blessed in those early years to go through that program. Everybody had the opportunity to go through that. He would teach it like once a year for 26 weeks from I think it was like 4:30 p.m. or maybe it's 5 to 6 p.m. So it was like 1 hour a night. And he came in, he would prep those freaking lessons every week and then bring those lessons in and teach that stuff. And what that did for the company as a whole was it basically put the entire company on a level playing field about understanding business. You understood expenses, you understood marketing, you understood. It wasn't just learn your job. It was like learn my job and how it fits in with the business. And then he did that for like 6 years. And then it got too busy. We stopped doing it. And then, or you do something so much, you just get tired of doing it. So it kind of fell by the wayside, but then we brought it back and it became a requirement for anybody in leadership to go through that program. And then different people would teach it. So that's the number one thing. And I call that invest in your people, because the better your people are, and you need to invest in yourself, invest in your people. The better your people are, the more profits they're going to be able to create for you. And that is a key element. I think that is a cornerstone in business. And I don't think companies do enough of that. And so that's a big one. Another thing I really learned, Joe, I'm a planner. I like to plan stuff. I'm a project manager guy. I like to have vision out in the future. I like to see A to Z and have a plan to get there. Mm-hmm. That's all good. But then I'm working under a CEO who doesn't do any of that crap. What does he do? He makes the next best decision and creates a lot of activity. And 90% of the time he was right. So very few mistakes that I ever saw Dave Ramsey actually make. You could say he was being led by hand of God or whatever you want to say. But he never made any fatal mistakes, right? He got wise counsel, made a decision, but he didn't go slow. He was a fast mover. Mm-hmm. And so I would tend to take too long. He would tend to go too fast, in my opinion. Somewhere in between is the right answer. And you got to learn to surround yourself with people in business or in life that have different opinions than you, right? To balance you out. Those were probably, a couple of the biggest ones. Just invest. One thing I thought Dave was really cool. As soon as you joined the company, and these books kind of kept mounting up. I think we started with about 4, ended up with about 8. And you would get a required reading list as soon as you started. And it was like, here's your books. And you would have to go read those books and report that back to the HR department. And those books gave us a level playing field. And one of those books is a really cool one. 1 Minute Manager. I don't think 1 Minute Manager was one. It was something else. Go Getter, okay. Which is just about hard work, man. It's a little 68-page book, just busted out. And it's all about doing a good job and, fighting hard and doing good work. Another one was called The Monk and the Merchant. It's like, why do you make profit? Well, you make profit to sow into God's kingdom. Right. And
That's
so
right.
Some people, they look at capitalism as an evil thing. Like you were saying, our history has been changed. A lot of people today say capitalism. No, corrupt capitalism is not good.
Yes.
That's what we have today. We have corrupt capitalism and corrupt capitalists in place that are very, very, very self-serving, and they don't care who they screw over to get it. And that's not all of them. That's just the ones at the very top. When you look, man, Joe, I just got to go soapbox. When you help somebody with their personal finances, they have 10 credit cards, and quite a few of them are 16, 17, 20% interest credit cards.
If not more now.
That's evil, dude. That's pure. And that started at the banks. Like the banks are doing that.
Yeah.
So, and it's evil. When you have a $5,000 credit card or balance and you got to pay $1,000 a year in interest, and that's all you're paying. Yeah, it's evil, man. It's evil. They don't need that much money. They're just taking it. They're just taking it. It's just not right.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're saying. I every now and then I get these letters from these small little loan places, right? And they just, hey, we checked your credit. You're eligible for this amount of money, and you can pay it back. But then you look at it and you see that it's like 65% interest on these things.
Yeah, it goes up. Yeah. Well,
there was one that I got recently that I looked at. I was just curious. I don't know. I just looked at it and I was like, I'm just wondering, because they're saying you can borrow up to, I think it was like $25,000. And so I was reading it and I just flipped it over and I looked and I saw the interest rate on that. I was like, you'd be paying this thing off for the rest of your natural life.
Unless you have a lot of income that you can move cash. Yeah.
I mean,
you got to go find a better job.
Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy. So yeah, no, it is. It's very predatory, and it's dangerous with the amount of interest that they charge on these things. These credit card companies, yeah, and you're right. It is capitalism or free market economics. The free market is not an evil thing. It's not something that it is the most natural form of economics, I think. And but it's demonized that way because there are those that do abuse that and do it for their own personal gain to take advantage of people, and that's what the problem is. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, that side of capitalism or free markets are what's demonstrated, in the media over and over and over again. That's all that people see, so that they think that all are. It's all throughout the entire free market. Mm-hmm. When it's really not the case. There are a group of people that are, very, very wicked or evil, however you want to phrase it, that do take advantage of it. But on the whole, the free market is the most natural form of economics there is. Socialism is not, a natural occurring economic foundation. Communism is not, but free market is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's when you look at the core, and this is what I've learned over the last 10 years since I left Ramsey's and started studying the financial stuff a little bit more deeply. It's the system we have today is actually very corrupt, but it's also designed to be very controlling. And it actually was, we were in really good shape until probably about like 1900s, 1910. And then when the central bank came in, Andrew Jackson got rid of one of the central banks, but then they brought it back. Right. Mm-hmm. And there were some people that were bought off, people that played the game. And yeah. And then now we got this tax system that didn't exist. Used to have no income taxes on anybody. Like nobody had income taxes. It was all tariffs.
Yep.
And then that got put in. So now we have gone from basically no income tax to paying like what? Some of us paying 50. But by the time you add up sales tax, gas tax, license and registration, Social Security, like all this crap, you're losing like 50% of your life. So that if people would stop thinking about it as money and start thinking about it as life, they'd probably go like, I just gave 12 hours of my life today to the government.
Yeah. And it's like, I saw it someplace and I'm trying to remember the date, the amount of time that they said it is, but with the current tax system, you're giving, I think, the first 3 months of the year of your income to the government.
I bet it's higher than that. They're probably
is.
That's just federal. That's probably just the federal government. Mm-hmm. When you start figuring in property taxes and all the crap you pay in the state, like if you go to California, I think their state income tax, I believe, is if it's not 15%, it's either gonna be 12, 15, or 17% last I checked. One of those three numbers, and that's on top of your federal income tax. Now you do get to deduct that from your federal, but still, like it's a mess of money, and it throws it off. But and I think let me add this to you. You asked me a question earlier about lessons I learned in leadership in business. That's kind of what I saw under Dave. That I'm like, that's really good, man. The way I think now, Joe, is more of is a stewardship. So you have stewardship of your business, you have stewardship of your money, you have stewardship of your team. So what I try to teach business owners is you have an opportunity to change the directory and lives of every employee you have on your team and their family for generations if you take it. And I want to show those business owners how to take that authority or that opportunity to transform kids' lives that they're never even going to meet, man. And when you think of your business that way, you go, how can I do that? Yeah, I want to do that. That becomes real capitalism, the benefit of those around us, not just crunching dollars and buying property like Bill Gates.
Yeah.
And other crap that he does.
Yeah. No. Yeah, this is the college dropout who all of a sudden is an expert on vaccines and all that stuff. Now you helped lead the digital transformation at the Dave Ramsey organization, and which I think is amazing. How did that shape your understanding of money, strategy, and scale?
Yeah, the first thing when I fell in love with the internet was when I figured out you could take data. And I could sit at home on my Comcast hooked up computer, and I could build a form and a database that people could put data into. And I never even met them. That to me was the coolest thing ever. And I just felt like it was powerful. So that's what got me into the internet, is this ability to share data across the internet. And then I took some classes, studied myself, practiced, and then if Dave had a barrel of fish that he'd need to pull somebody out to do it, I was at the bottom of that barrel. Like literally, there probably was nobody worse at doing what I was doing than me when I got in there. So what we did really stretched me. I was actually terrified when I took that job because I didn't know if I could do it, but thankfully God affirmed me in it and said, this is it, go do it. And so I climbed into the seat, and then all of a sudden I'm building these apps that I had never built before. I'm like, hey, we need an online store. All right, let's try it. Hey, we need a ticketing system for this event we're doing in 2 months. Never done that before. Let's go try that. And then we convinced them to, the interesting thing is, because, Dave didn't take credit cards back then. And now he doesn't take them on the books, but people still use them in the system. You can't stop them from doing that.
Right.
But just to get them to take ACH, like banking account, like numbers online. And then we put a little form in where people could enter their bank account number just so they could buy stuff from us online, because we weren't going to take credit cards. This is like 2001. And then those numbers would have to get processed by our accounting department every day to go. And we were doing like 9 orders a day. Like, actually, we weren't even doing that many. That was a Christmas high. That was during Christmas. We were excited. That was the first year I was there, like, man, we got 9 orders a day. Yay, we're killing it. And then scale, this is a question you asked about. But yeah, getting your systems ready to scale, realizing what your full potential is. As a business owner, what I think people get into businesses that really don't have a lot of upside. They're passionate about it, but it's going nowhere. So I really encourage people to go, hey, where's this thing leading? Where could it go? We don't have to have all the answers, but we do have to have some. But putting these systems in place, like we had a terrible customer relationship management tool. That's where you store all your customer data. We were keeping stuff in Excel spreadsheets and crap, in which a lot of companies do that. But today it's a little easier to get your hands on the software because the software is developed so much more. But be intentional about that. Now we were fortunate, Joe, to have Dave was the engine that drove the marketing. He's on the radio 3 hours a day. It's free advertising. So as a company, we didn't have to go out and pay for advertising, but the average company spends anywhere from 10 to 15% of their annual budget or their income on advertising. That's expensive to do. So learning the difference between how can you drive low cost advertising, which is what influencers do, right? Social media gave us that. You just got to get online and post, and then that's free advertising. Whereas if you want to go massive scale, how do you get that market share? Bring these people in. Sadly, a lot of business owners, even ones I talk to, they don't understand the principle of marketing.
Mm-hmm.
And our company didn't either. Like Dave did, but the rest of the VPs didn't, because they were riding Dave's coattails off that radio show. So they didn't have marketing competency inside the organization other than like Dave and maybe one other guy who understood it a little bit, but not students of marketing. So that's a big one, man. It's like, if you're going to build a business, you got to have a product. You got to have a good product, something you can sell. And then you got to do the effort to go sell it. And then once you do that, how do you do your fulfillment or scalability? Salesforce, that's a good one. I'm currently using a program called Zoho. I like them because they have a lot of different software they provide that all integrates together, and it's super cheap, man, compared to basically anything else on the market. And they're not based in the US, they're based in India. So you get so they're paying a bunch of developers, a third of what it would cost in the US to develop that software. And
right.
So, those are good solutions. And then what I'm doing for my own business now is just leaning into podcasting. You just recently started your podcast, didn't you? How many episodes have you got out?
This is episode number 221.
Oh, you didn't just start, but are you doing daily?
5 times a week.
Okay. Yeah. Almost daily. Yeah. I only do once a week. So I'm only at 133. I started in 2020 during COVID.
Yeah.
And then I took some breaks in there, celebrated because I hit 50 and then I hit 100 and then I hit 130.
I hit 1 year doing this show in November.
Yeah, so you're doing great pushing it, but then you got to back it all up, right? So if you just do the podcast, that's fun part, but then you got to do this freaking image to promote it, and you got to do this write up. You got to hit 5 different social media channels, and then you got to send out an email, and you got to grow that audience. And that's something I have not done well.
I'm not doing well with that either, to be honest with you. I mean, I have on Rumble. I'm doing better on Rumble than YouTube, which is fine. And I think I told you about this. I already got 2 strikes on Rumbles. On YouTube. So, I don't really push YouTube because sooner or later I'm going to get bounced from that. So I try to encourage the people. I think I only have like 48 subscribers on YouTube, and I'm trying to encourage them to come to Rumble. That's where I'm going to be. I'm right now I'm sitting at 518 on Rumble. I would like to hit 520, before the end of the year, but it's hard.
We said 519.
518 at the start of the show.
All right, I'm gonna get you to 520 tonight. All right. Yeah, I got 6 kids. 5 of them are living with me. I got my wife and me, so I can get you 7 subscribers, I think. So we'll see how it works. So, but the thing is, we can go do the fun part of business, which I kind of have done this last 4 or 5 years, but I haven't done the hard part, the stuff you don't want to do, but you still got to do it. So this year in 2026, you got to set goals, man. If you don't set goals, you don't go anywhere.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
This year I'm like, man, I'm going to post every week. I've already done 5 of the last 6 weeks. I got 2 podcasts now. One's called Get Business Smart. My other one's called The Millionaire Choice. And I'm posting 5 times out of the last 6 weeks, which is awesome for me. And then I've been doing all my social media, man. And I'm seeing my numbers come back up. I was hitting about 1,250 downloads a month at my peak, which was about, 300 episodes, 300. I was getting about 300 downloads per episode, which apparently is like top 5% on podcasts. So you don't have to get a lot of numbers to get up there, but you got to do the work, man. It's like you have to do the unpleasant things, and then you got to scale as fast as possible. So as soon as you can afford to get some help. So like in your case, you probably need to find somebody in the Philippines that you can pay a little bit of money to that will post your show for you and do all the social media for you every week. Like at least once a week, get your stuff out. You don't have to post every day because you're posting a lot, but you could do a summary and go, hey, this week on the Joe Rooz, podcast feature, because you're doing a lot of work. Now you got to learn how to harvest that work.
Yeah, exactly. And my goal for 26 with this show is, I have to do better with the social media stuff. I'm terrible with the social media stuff. I don't like social media. I really don't. But it's a necessary evil, especially if I want to grow the show. So I have to get better with posting. And not even just posting about the show. I got to actually interact more on social media, on non-show related things, just having conversations with people, interacting with folks. And I just got to keep pushing. I got to try to invest some money into selling the show, marketing the show, getting it out there, and getting more. I don't know what I don't know.
Now, are you releasing on? Are you doing only video release? You're doing audio releases?
I do audio. Well, I stream live video and live audio, and then after the show is over, it uploads across all of the podcasting platforms like Apple and Spotify and Amazon and all of them.
You're creating a ton of content. You might need to go back and like I think when you get your show fully rolled out, what you're going to do is probably chop it up and have a show manager, and then you might have segment advertisers, obviously. But the main thing is you're creating the content. You got to get into a point, and don't do a lot, man. Here's what I would tell you: take a little bit of money. Don't take a lot. My first year, I paid $500 a month to get an editor to help me with my show and do all that stuff, which I needed. This was 2020. Today, you got AI, and like pretty soon, you're going to be able to point your show release at an AI. It's going to chop it up, make your bits, post it for you, put it on social media, all of it, and it's going to be better than you could do it. Now, it's almost there now, but you also have structured apps. So there's a tool my buddy showed me where it actually uses one AI tool to do one part, another one. So you have like 5 AI pieces, and they all work together and then streamline and get the stuff out. Yeah, it's a totally different way. You still probably need somebody to help you, but at the same time, that's how you scale, and you got to build that brand.
Like I have somebody that helps me. Her name is Angela. She's great, and what she does for me is she takes care of my bookings, basically. So she goes into Podmatch, which, by the way, is how we connected, through Podmatch, and which is a great platform. Very proud to be part of the podcast, the Podmatch podcasting network, and all that great stuff. It's a great platform to be a part of, and I encourage anybody to get on it. If you're a podcaster, or if you're looking to be a guest on a podcast, that's where to go. But what she does is she helps me with coordinating all the bookings. And she helps me put together the show notes. We go through the profiles. We ask, for anybody that contacts us outside of Podmatch, we ask them to send us a bio. We ask them to send us a headshot. We ask them to send us all this information, and then we work on it together. We generate everything together, and then she sets it all up for me. I have a beautiful little spread here that she does. I don't know how she finds time to do this because, she's a mom. She has 3 kids that she homeschools. She helps, I think, 3 or 4 other podcasts. She doesn't ask for a penny. She's donating her time, and she's fantastic.
Yes, I love it.
So so I have that, and I greatly appreciate it. But yeah, you're right though. I do need help when it comes to the social media stuff, since I hate doing it, and and I sit there sometimes and I'm like, I see all these other shows, and they post these. What do they call on Instagram? They post their reels and all that stuff, these little snippets of the show. I was like, well, where do you find time to do that? I don't have time to do that.
A lot of it's AI, man. You just I'll send you some stuff, but you just point your video clip, you upload it, and it's going to make clips for you. Riverside FM does, but the best clips are if you do them like professionally. But in lieu of not doing them professionally, you could get the AI to cut it and clip it. At least you're getting something out. And then the coolest thing now you can do, if you're not using ChatGPT, I use that. I finally broke down and bought a subscription to it. It's like, I don't know, $15 a month or something like that. And you could literally, because ChatGPT would go find me. So if you went there and said, hey, Chat, I need a social media post for Tony Bradshaw being on my show, Joe Rooz, and make it kind of short. And then it'll literally spit you out a social media post written about that. Now, if you tell it more information, like, oh, I'm going to name it this, the name of the episode. So if you name your episodes, I name mine. Yeah, then it'll find it. So it'll write the whole freaking thing for you, dude. And then you go to another tool like Hootsuite, which they're pretty expensive. I would use a cheaper one than them, like Social Bee or something like that. And then you just got to take that social media post, pop it in Social Bee. It rolls it out to like 4 different platforms for you. You don't have to log into them. So, and if you do that, you have a lot, it streamlines everything. You could probably get your social media posting down to like less than an hour, maybe like 30 minutes, but you got to create a little image too. And it'll create the images, but it'll usually make you look like crap. So mine's got some. I send my wife when it makes them, it makes my smile look a little weird. So I'm like, check this out. It doesn't look like you. Well, it kind of does look like me, just not that great.
A little more stylized.
Yeah, something's wrong off. I've got to look my own work, But yeah.
So I've played with images on Grok. I like Grok actually. Grok is pretty good. What takes a lot of time I was training it, to know you and your style and all that stuff. That's the effort. And then I've also tried out another one called Uncensored AI.
No, I haven't played with that one yet.
Yeah,
is that the one that will give you all the good skinny on the conspiracies and stuff?
Yes, yeah. It's pretty good though.
The real truth. We can go find the real truth about what's going on.
But the thing is though, without a paid subscription to it, it only lets you like interact like I think 3 or 4 times before it tells you no, we can't answer that unless you pay.
Well, Grok. Somebody, I think the dude that left, it was either Grok or another. That he was the only white guy on the I think the development team, and so he jailbroke the thing before he left, and it started spitting out all kinds of stuff.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
Oh, if you read some of the stuff it was saying, it was full on truth. That I agree with all of it. All the stuff I read.
Yeah, it's fast. I remember that. I remember hearing about that repeatedly across all the other shows.
Oh man, well, it was too much truth. When you get into like TikTok too. So TikTok was actually too free because it was based out of China, and so the U.S. censorship machine didn't have full access. They had to like, hey, can you guys please take that off and censor that? We found this piece and we don't want that out there. So then China, so they had to go through all this red tape. Well, the real reason they separated and split TikTok into like US TikTok and then everything else TikTok was because of that. And it goes into, I probably shouldn't say this if you're going to post this on YouTube. So there's a specific war going on around the Mediterranean Sea that should not be happening, but is happening, and there's too much truth about that specific war coming out. And I'm not talking about the Ukraine war. Too much truth coming out. And so they couldn't have that. The powers that be couldn't have that. So they had to separate TikTok, get control of it so they could get all the censorship in place. And there's a guy named Pavlov. He's the owner of Telegram.
Yeah. And
he's out there talking about how they're trying to censor everything and control thought through social media. So some for your listeners or watchers, just be aware we're living in some crazy, crazy times.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That I found interesting too is speaking of TikTok, if you look at the content that the West posts on TikTok, and then you look at the things that they post from China, and more of the eastern side of the world, very, very different, very, very different. Like you see a lot of technical posts coming out of places like China, and of skills of teaching you how to do things. Whereas here you got a bunch of knuckleheads running around with doing dance routines and things like that.
It's weaponized. China weaponized TikTok. Did you know that? Yeah, the AI algorithm was weaponized to make their people smarter and the rest of the world dumber. Like that's a known fact.
Yeah, I knew that. Yeah, which is fascinating. Then, of course, America gets involved with it, and now all it is advertisements, and the algorithms change completely. I don't mess around with TikTok too much, to be honest with you. I have an account. It's for the show. I posted on it a few times. I don't like TikTok. I never did.
I've not gotten into it, but if you want to influence a younger community, it's a platform we need. We both, as older sages, wiser, need to be on that platform spilling truth as much as we can get away with it before it gets censored, because there is coming a day where all this stuff is going to be censored. I look forward to the day, Joe. You see this little right here? You know what this is, right?
Yes.
That's an iPhone.
Yes, sir.
It's probably going to be maybe another year or two, maybe not even a year. You're going to see this thing get blown up. This is my iPhone because I am switching platforms. I don't want to be listened to, censored, and all this. And I'm going to move to a platform called Purism. They have a phone called the Librem phone. It's actually all manufactured here in the United States. and it's all privacy based, like the whole
Hmm.
freaking thing. Yeah. So this phone, Samsung, and Google, Android, Microsoft, those are all part of the surveillance network. So we don't
Oh
want
yeah, no, I know that. Yeah,
we don't
everything
want
you do.
that.
I find it so amazing how I could be having a conversation with somebody and I turn my phone on and boom, there's an ad for it for whatever it is I was just talking about.
Dog food, whatever,
Yeah,
cat litter.
exactly.
I don't want to look at that. I was just talking about it. Why don't I look at it?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah, and but yeah, it's coming. So just be aware and protect yourself as best we can in this season, and hang on to Jesus.
Amen to that. Hey, let's get into your book a little bit. I mean, I have 1,000 questions here for you, but let's get into your book.
Well, how long are we going tonight? I thought you had another guest coming
I
on.
have a guest supposed to be coming on at 9:00, but he hasn't checked in here yet.
Okay, so we just keep rolling until they show up.
No, well, we're going to keep going until I finish my interview.
All right.
And I want to get into your book, and that's where we're going to wrap it up from there. But so you have the book, The Millionaire Choice. It's built on the idea that wealth is not just possible, but predictable with the right plan.
You said that well.
What's the simplest version of that plan for a complete beginner?
Yeah, so let me just walk people through a couple steps, and then I'll talk about the plan. So if you think about the book, I didn't really intend to write it this way. I think it's a little more like God-led. When God tells you to go write something, you just do it, and it kind of turns out the way he wants it, and that's really what I did, because I didn't feel qualified to write it. The first thing's got to happen with anybody that's going to build wealth. The very first thing has to be a mindset shift. Has to be an awakening, right? I went from being broke, spending all my money, to going, ding, I got a W-2 and made 39 grand. And I'm broke and 16 grand in debt. That's a $55,000 move in the wrong direction. All right. So that was the mindset shift catalyst moment that I had. All right. So once I did that, I did the only thing I'd grown up doing, which is I need to learn how to manage money.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my solution. I call that get money smart. All right. Everybody that builds wealth has to do those two things: mindset shift or get money smart. Now, some people grow up in wealthier families, so they already start with the mindset shift already in place. And or they pick it up while they're growing up, right? So it just naturally happens. But they still have to get money smart, and they're either going to get money smart from their parents, or they're going to have to go learn how to do it, right? So what I did is went to the bookstore and just started buying up money magazines and getting subscriptions. I learned how to rebuild car engines at like 14, 15, 16 years old. I did that through magazines, all right? And then I got a big fat Chilton book that was like 700 pages. Right.
Yeah, I know that book. Yeah.
It was my dad's.
My dad had one too. Yeah.
That's how I rebuild. I need to get one for my kids. All right. So that's what you got to do. Have a mindset shift, get money smart, and then you can start to build your plan. So, and that was all the knowledge. The get money smart knowledge. So bookends are mindset shift. And then at the back end, the back bookmark or book holder is back end is the millionaire plan. I don't want a financial plan. I want a millionaire plan, right? Because it's a very clear, specific goal. If you don't have, and millionaire status is really just a milestone on your way to multi-millionaire status. Okay. Right. But I can't tell people that, because they go, what do you mean? I'm broke. I can't scrub two nickels together. They can't imagine being multi-millionaires. So I just got to get them moving in the right direction. And so that's the big piece of it. In the middle, the part of the plan, you got to have an income plan, how much money you're making, right? A lot of us settle for low income wages, right? Mm-hmm. And we just survive. We get a job we like, but we really don't know what that job. So when you take a job that makes $35,000 a year, nothing wrong with a $35,000 job a year job, but it's not going to, when you compound that out 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, it's not going to be that, life's not going to be that great. So you have to go, okay, 35 grand is okay, but it's not where I need to stay. Like we all have potential in us that is much, much higher than that. So when I made my millionaire journey, it was 39 grand, right? That's right. What I made. That's what I made. I was like, I spent all that. And my expenses were low, man. This was like 1994, 95, right? So today expenses are high. Back then they were low. So, but I did not realize in that time and moment that I could make $100,000 a year job. I grew up in a low income family. I was already making more than my mom and dad were making.
Right. Right.
So I thought I was, living the dream. I just needed to change how I managed it. But your potential income is much higher. So I still remember when I was looking at changing jobs, my wife said she started praying for me to make $70,000 a year. I was making 47, I think. And then I went to work for Dave Ramsey, went to 35. I'm like, this is what God wants me to do, but it sure ain't fun. Because we couldn't even afford health insurance for our newborn baby. But 90 days after I went to Dave's, God provided. He provided just enough to pay for the insurance. So the
Nice.
first day I could buy insurance, God gave me the money to do it. All right. So, but your potential is much higher. So first it went to 50. My income went to 50, then 70, then 80, then 100, then 150, then 300, then 500. It kept going. All right. Now, as a little guy growing up in East Nashville, low income family area, I didn't realize what my potential was. Right now,
Right.
I do. And I realize other people's potential. So, but you have to believe in yourself. So back to what you said, mindset, get money smart, find a money mentor, find your millionaire tribe. All right. These are all things you have to do. All right. So get money smart, find your millionaire tribe, find your money mentor, then put it all together. So income plan, when you ask me what the millionaire plan is, it's an income plan. You're going to have to make more income. It's a debt plan. If you're in debt, you got to have a plan how to deal with your debt. Right now, I'll throw this little caveat in there right now, because the way Dave Ramsey teaches debt, how to get out of debt, he teaches a work your way out of debt model. Right.
Okay.
So you go make $1, use that $1, pay off your debt. Right. I don't believe in that anymore. I believe in different situations for different people. What I believe in is if you're under a lot of debt, you can work your way out of that debt. I would prefer you invest your way out of that debt. All right. What does that mean? Well, that means the money you work for goes into investment, and then you use the investment dollars it creates to pay off the debt. That way you still have that value. So if you can shift your mindset into every $1 you make needs to make another $1. It needs to go somewhere. You don't spend it, you put it somewhere to make another $1. Right. And then if you can rewire your brain to do that, then you will keep all your income. By the time you start making the full shift, it may take you 5 to 10 years to make that full shift, but eventually you're going to have a shift. And then every $1 you make is already making more dollars for you.
Mm.
And then that's going to pay off your debt. So why is that so important? We're living in a curious age right now. We got this thing called cryptocurrency. Now, ultimately, I believe cryptocurrency is trash. It's not good for us. It's going to be bad for society, but it's here.
Mm-hmm.
Take advantage of it. All right. So I put $150,000 into crypto in 2017. That was when Bitcoin was about $6,500. All right. Ethereum was around 300 or 400 when I got in it. If I had gotten in just a few months earlier, it was $7 a coin.
Well, yeah.
Went up like 11,000%. So cryptocurrency is what I would call like a 10x investment if you get in the right one. Right. So Bitcoin's actually gone up. I mean, it's 10x now from where it was in 2017. So that means if you put 10 grand in, you get 100 grand out, and it's in a relatively short time, very short time frame. That's what I mean by invest your way out of debt. So you can put your money into investments. They create more income. You use that money to service your debt. So like kids paying off student loan debts, bad idea right away.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a $60,000 in student loan debt, it'd be better for you to take your 60 grand, put it in investment, service your debt, low interest, have something in a higher return rate, and then use that money to pay off your debt, because then you've got 60 grand growing. Right.
I got you.
But it comes down to the math and the interest rates and things like that. But that's the plan. So income plan, debt plan, and multiplying your money plan, what we call wealth plan. And then you need to review that annually, look at it so that, you get a second opinion on it. Is it performing like you wanted to? I won't mention any names, but a company that I worked for, the teaching there is that you should get 12% returns on your retirement investments. Okay.
Okay.
I had access to some of the 401k plans, and basically nothing in that plan was getting 12%. So, when you can be investing in your retirement, but not invested in the right things. It's very important to understand that. So you can feel like you're doing all the right stuff because your financial advisor is saying, hey, put this money, put this money. But if it's not going into the best things, then it's not going to get you the best results. Right. So even if you do find a money mentor, I would recommend you get a money mentor and a financial advisor. Just like if you got cancer, Joe, you're going to go to the doctor. What are you going to do? You're going to talk to 2 doctors, get 2 opinions.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. Same thing. Because you can get crappy financial advisors. most financial advisors aren't telling people to buy real estate. They're not telling them to get into crypto. And gold and silver, man. Gold and silver's gone up 10,000% since 1970. Right? I was just showing a guy, it's gone up, let's see, it was $1,400 in 2017. That's $4,200. It's beating the stock market. Gold and silver are.
And silver, actually, silver, I looked at it yesterday. I think it was like $60 something an ounce.
Yeah, just went over 60. Yeah. And so, some people tell you not to buy gold and silver. I'm a believer now that if I could go back, talk to my 13-year-old self, Joe, I would tell him a couple different things. I say, hey, little man, you know that money you made this week? Buy 5% gold and silver with it. That's what I would tell myself. I would say, do it for the rest of your life. Gold and silver has been the backbone of every banking system, every financial system, and every government for the last 3,000 years. Buy gold and silver for your family because that's generational wealth. Gold and silver is generational wealth for families. All right. It's been around longer than like anything but dirt. Right. Well, it was dirt. Just nobody used it. It was in the dirt. Right. But nobody used it like that. So that's super key to understand that. The other thing I would do is I would say buy as much real estate as you can, cash flow it, create cash flow, understand the principle of cash flow. I was so anti-debt, Joe, that I sold my first house. My house note was $500 a month. It was a $62,500 house. I could have kept it, rented it out, paid the note on it, easy. I probably could charge $800 a month, walked away with $300 in cash. That's what I could have done. I didn't know that. I didn't understand that. I was only 30 years old at the time when I sold my house. 30. I was 32 because we were having our second child and we moved in 2003. So I wish I had done that. I wish I kept that, turned into rental property. Guy I talked to today, I said, he's talking about buying his first home. He's 23 years old. I said, turn into cash flow and asset. Get a 3-bedroom, move a renter in, make some money off of that room while you're buying that house. Right.
Yeah.
If you're a married couple, get a studio apartment in it. Now my wife doesn't want that. So she's like, I don't want anybody living around with us and stuff. Well, okay. I'll accommodate you for now. You know, my second house fully paid off, moved into this house, should have kept it. I sold it because I was so anti-debt. If I had kept that house fully paid off, I could have just put a renter in it, rented it for $2,000 a month, easy. And I would have been cash flowing. It would have paid 2/3 of my house note on the house I'm in now. Right. But I was so anti-debt. So that would be my things. Go back. Those are just a couple lessons. And then and just be learning something new about money every freaking month for the rest of your life. You know, they teach us financial literacy in schools. It's basically how to go into debt, how to open a bank account, trust the bank, and open some debt. That's what financial literacy is today. Very little value in the current financial literacy system. If you think of your education, Joe, in like tiers, K through 12, I did a model. Maybe I should send this to you. What's kind of out there now is all being taught should be like learned by 6th grade. Like, you know, even Dave stuff should be all taught by like 6th grade.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. And then you got to get into the money making and the wealth building and stuff like that and get you another 6 years of wealth building.
So let me ask you this though, because you threw out a lot of information. You really did. And
you let me.
And no, that's great. No, that's the whole point. A lot of information out there. But now, for someone that's listening, that's living paycheck to paycheck, what's the first thing they should do in the next 30 days?
First thing you do, okay, I don't like telling people this, so you got to listen with me with a grain of salt. A lot of people put budgeting first. Like if I was teaching my kids, teach them to budget, teach the budget. They got to teach them. I think that's crap. Okay. Because if you learn that, you restrain your thinking. You don't think in a way of like possibilities and abundance. So what you really should do is go learn to invest first. Even if it's a little bit, just start investing a little bit of money. I don't care if it's $10. Get started with something. Just go, I'm buying something that's going to be valuable for me in the future. Then come back to your budget, because why is that important? Because if you start with a wealth building mindset, your budget will conform to help you build wealth. If you start with, I don't have enough money mindset, then your budget will constrain to meet that demand, which is like, I got to pay my bills. I can't live on, like, if you do the one first, you're going to have a different mindset. You're going to have different goals. Do you understand the subtlety of that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Now, simple budget, right? 4 categories. This is what I teach. I like it simple. Living money, everything you need to live on every month. Gas, water, house, rent, food, whatever those things are. That's one category. Next category is going to be your play money. Actually, it's going to be your wealth money, but I'm putting 4 in here. Your play money, all right? That's your movies. If you got a fitness club, it's fitness club. It's Netflix. Anything you don't have to spend that you're just spending. Could be eating out. All that's play money, all right?
Right.
You got what you have to spend, what you like to spend, and then you got a wealth category, and you got what I call others money, all right? Others money is gifts, things you give away, tithing, could be nonprofit stuff. Whatever you give to other people, that's others money, right?
Right.
If you're buying your wife a birthday present, it's others money. You got to hit her. And then you got a wealth money category. Why are these 4 categories important? Because you have to watch the percentages. All right. A financial advisor is going to tell you to put 15% in retirement. If you make $50,000 a year and your financial advisor says 15%, you're going to feel good because you're checking your financial advisor's box, but it ain't going to be nothing in the future. It's not going to grow to crap.
Right.
So you got to think goal oriented and go, what do I want my life to look like in the future? And then this budget tool that I just described, living money, play money, wealth money, and others money, is going to help you shape towards that goal. Now, and it also lets you say like, hey, I'm spending too much play money. Mostly it's like eating out. Freaking Starbucks, going, I like Chipotle, I like burgers, I like all that stuff. But that's you're paying 3 to 4 times more for that food if you eat out than if you cooked it at home.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I agree with you.
And that will tear your budget to pieces, especially if you got 6 kids like me.
Right. Or you're on your own. Like I ordered something yesterday, a very, very small thing, just from a local food truck over here. They make some great stuff, but it wasn't all that much, and it cost me almost $30.
Yeah, you're 15 to 20. Yeah, easy.
Like $30, man. You know what I could do with the $30?
Well, you could buy let's see, a quarter of an ounce of silver.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is going to be worth $500 to $1,000 someday.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, I started buying silver again. I used to have I used to collect silver coins.
Yeah.
And where they went, have no idea.
Oh,
no,
well,
I'm serious. They just disappeared.
Well, one thing I wanted to share with you, we don't have time tonight, but I'll just do a pitch on it real quick, is this program I'm in. It's a gold and silver program. And if you go to my website, you can find it. There's a link there that says Get Money Smart. I'm going to redo it, make it look even better than it looks right now. But Get Money Smart. And this company is trying to put gold and silver back in everybody's hands in the world. They're in 63 countries right now, dude. Mm-hmm. And their technology is freaking awesome. You can buy silver and gold for as little as $1. You can't really do that anywhere else. So it's whatever your budget is, you can get your hands, or you can't get your hands on it because you got to have an ounce. They'll only ship it to you if you got an ounce, but you can kind of like build it up like a bank account where you buy this. So it makes it where anybody can buy it. And so when you talked to me earlier about what can people do in the next 30 days, that would be one. Get your hands on some gold and silver, right? If you try to go buy a share of Tesla stock, unless you can do it through Robinhood, fractional through Robinhood, which I don't like that, but Tesla share stock's probably $300 right now.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so you need at least $300 to make any kind of investment at that level in one of these top tier stocks. Gold and silver is affordable. It's accessible to anybody. It's going to keep going up, in my opinion. So, yeah, you can go to my website, tonybradshaw.com, and just learn a little bit. Just go. There's tons of resources there. Just learn something.
Outstanding. Well, you know what, Tony, we're gonna wrap it up here because I see Wayne is checked in at the bottom there, although it says device is not connected, so I'm not sure what that means. But let's see. So after everything that we spoke about today, what's your hope for the audience to take away?
Man, I would say change your life. That's the biggest thing. Is like realize your potential. God has given you tremendous human potential. Lean into it. Lean into it with all you got. Take the time to learn some stuff. Turn off the freaking TV. Stop doom scrolling. Yep. This is how bad our system is. When Facebook can monetize you while you're taking a dump, because they've built a system that makes money off of you while you're taking a dump. You know, I mean,
True.
I hate to be legit, but it's
You
what
put it
it's
that way, yeah. You don't think about it like that, but that's exactly what it is. You know,
It's
most
corrupt capitalism. That's corrupt capitalism. They have learned, this system learns how to monetize you every way possible. So once you understand that, you can start taking your time, start read a book, pull up, watch a video on how to invest.
Mhm.
You know, do something that's going to build you back up, and then your family. Because if you can build yourself up, you're going to change your family forever, for generations.
Yeah.
You've just got to be the first one to learn these principles and get the ship corrected, because the enemy has torn it down. He's made it hard, but it's not that hard. You can change it.
I agree with you. And, you know, like you said, I agree with you. The fact that, you know, you got to get away from the TV. You got to get away from the phones. You got to get away from all that stuff. Sit down, read a book. Like you said, watch a video on how to make money, how to invest money. Go to your website, tonybradshaw.com. Check out the stuff that's on there. You know, there are myriad ways to improve your lifestyle if you're willing to put the effort into it, you know, and improve your wealth if you put the effort into it.
And if enough of us do that, Joe, it's going to flip this world upside down.
Absolutely.
If enough of us do what we just said, it will change everything.
Absolutely. Tony, who's somebody that you respect right now? What are they doing that inspires you?
Oh, tons of people out there. I like Alex Hormozy. If you want to go get, you know, start thinking in abundance mindset, he's probably one of the best ones. Net worth over $100 million, but he's making an impact in people's lives and showing them how to get free and be set free.
Outstanding. Outstanding. And where can the audience go to get your stuff?
Yeah. Obviously on Amazon.com, but I prefer you go to TonyBradshaw.com because you'll get exposed to a lot more things. Free download. There's a book we didn't talk about. It's called Creating Millionaire Families. It's an ebook I wrote back in, 2021 maybe. So if you want to learn about some of the things I'm talking about, how to transform families, there's a little bit of that. I need to add some more chapters to it, but it's there. It's a free download. Go check it out.
Outstanding. Tony Bradshaw, thank you, man. I appreciate you being here tonight. I'm glad we were able to get the conversation in. And I definitely want to have you back on the show again. So we got to work something out after the new year. We're going to get you back on again. Talk about more stuff. Like I said, I have a ton of questions for you. I want to talk about your faith. I want all the stuff that we talked about privately. You know, I want to get into all that stuff too. And what we need to do is we need to book you on a day and then block out the rest of the show. This way there's no other guests coming on, anything like that. So we can give you the full 2 hours.
Yeah, you'd be like a 2-hour marathon. Yeah, that'll be an interesting day. Yeah, you'd be the first one I've done like that, Joe. I would do it for you, though. I would do it for you.
All right, outstanding. And I'm gonna email you after the show a couple of things, and then like links and whatnot. So if you want to share them, cut them up, you know, make little promos with them, go right ahead, do it.
Yeah.
And I'll get in touch with you.
Awesome, Joe. I really appreciate you, man. I have a lot of respect for your new friend, Joe.
Thank you,
how do you say your last name? Is it Rooz?
On here, yeah, it's Rooz, but that's short for my full last name, which is Rusiello.
Okay, well, let's not go there. I'm not going to get that right.
Yeah, not many people do. That's why it would be used Rooz. So, all right, Tony, thank you so much, man. I'll talk to you. And if I don't talk to you beforehand, though, have a Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year.
Absolutely. You take care.
You too, brother. God bless you.
God bless.
All right, Tony Bradshaw, folks. I mean, that was so far, we've had 2 fantastic guests on the show today. This has been just a great show. So I know Wayne is waiting to get on here, and we're excited to have Wayne back on the show. And but I have to go use the restroom again. So we're going to take a quick break here, and when we come back, we'll bring in Wayne. Wayne has some pretty big shoes to step into here. We've had some great conversations tonight, but I'm looking forward to seeing Wayne. I'm looking forward to talking to him. It's been a minute, and we're glad he's back for his Wednesday with Wayne segment on the Joe Rooz Show. All right, folks. So don't forget, this is a live show, weeknight, 7 p.m. Central Time. And don't forget also the Sunday Bible study show at 2 p.m. Central Time. And make sure you hit that like button, the subscribe button, the share button. It helps the algorithm so people can find the show. All right, so let's do that. And let's crack 520 tonight. I know Tony said he's going to help out with that. Hey, look, if we can get to 530 tonight, that would be fantastic. All right. I want to close out the year strong. All right. Thanks, folks. I appreciate it. And we'll be back right after this. Stay with us.
Love the flow. 69. Now it's must do it. If we don't control insiders, this will be over and over. To lead by an any big fat love, find common ground to halt the spread of lies. And we must do it big fat love, find common ground to halt the spread of lies. And any America first, America first, non-fatal. We want to build a much better, believable people, and we must do it non-fatal. Communication very much higher. America first. To lead by an any insiders fighting for insiders. Time to stop. Insiders fighting for insiders. More of insiders fighting for insiders. Time to stop. Insiders fighting for insiders. America first. Love the flow. 69. Now it's time for new, believable people, and we must do it. If we don't control insiders, this will be over and over. To lead by an any big fat love, find common ground to halt the spread of lies. And we must do it big fat love, find common ground to halt the spread of lies. And any America first, America first, non-fatal. We want to build a much better, believable people, and we must do it non-fatal. Communication very much higher. America first. To lead by an any insiders fighting for insiders. Time to stop. Insiders fighting for insiders. More of insiders fighting for insiders. Time to stop. Insiders fighting for insiders. America first. Love the flow.
All righty, folks. Hour number 2 is in the books. Going on into hour number 3. It's not often we do a third hour, but we have a very special reason for doing the third hour tonight. Our good buddy, one of my best and closest friends, Wayne Rankin, is joining us here momentarily. Wayne is coming back from the dead, basically. Don't know what happened to him, don't know where he's been. We're going to find out here momentarily. Folks, don't forget, this is a live show, weeknights, 7 p.m. Central Time. Make sure you hit that like button, the subscribe, the share. Help us build the algorithm so people find the show. All right? We're making that push. All right. Well, coming to us from the People's Republic of Washington State, we have this here tonight, Wayne Rankin. Wayne is back. Hello, my buddy Wayne. You look like a guy who's been beaten to death.
Well, Joe, the Frankenstein monster called me. He wants his parts back.
Great. I like that. It's a good one.
Yeah. To get into it, there was I think they're going to come with up with a new Operation game. It's going to be me.
So give us the rundown, man. So what bionic parts have they installed on you now?
Well, my shoulder is, like I said, it was a car accident, and I was just talking to it today. Just driving down the freeway or a country road. Think about it. Me and the wife singing along. It was her birthday. Going to pick up kids, and out from nowhere, the lady pulls out. But it totally ripped the tendons off my shoulder. So they had normally two anchors in, but he put 6. And then my knee that I had replaced, it kind of re-jerked that off. So I had to get it back. So I actually have physical therapy and get this every day, even the day after Christmas and the day after New Year. So they're trying to put me back together like Humpty Dumpty, but I bounce pretty good. And a buddy of mine, he's an old Marine I grew up with. He goes, "You are the luckiest blankety blank on the entire planet," because I can't get into it too legally wise. There's much we're in a legal situation, so I have to, whatever you call it, edit it. So keep that
self-censor, my friend.
So me and the beautiful Rosanna have made a total decision, and I'm with the Grinch in the movie. the commercialism of Christmas. I said, I can't do it. She goes, I'm with you. I thought my wife, oh, I just want to see the grandkids. She's good with it. We're going to go make ice cream with them after Christmas.
Nice.
Any gifts will be homemade. And like
Nice.
I said, I got a homemade basket coming to Mr. Joe Rooz with top-notch sausages. I not just killed the animal, cut, trim, and marinated my own meat. I processed it. It's in sausage style. And, you know, Joe, being from New York and being from Detroit, people don't know what dry sausage is. So
No.
I got packs of it, and she's making you some goodies. And so
Nice.
we just kind of sat and said, you know, I told her growing up, my sister gave me a story, and I forgot about it. My dad was from the deep South, picked cotton. If there's a story, and it started like this, my parents grew up and picked cotton during the Depression in North Carolina, up in Appalachians. And so, long story short, he went and became in the military in that World War II thing, and he went up to Detroit. And she said this the other day, and it hit me. He would put socks up, you know, on the little fake mantle thing. They were his work socks. Man, it's cool. That's something I go, that's an honorable man right there.
Wow.
Dude, he had 10 kids. This guy had 10 kids. These women today, oh, I got 2 kids. My mom, she was, try 10. We kept it together. They did a great job. And I think about that. And my wife, who's probably pretty much never known want, I told her, that kind of got me. I says, you know, that's where I'm coming from. And our interfamily rule is, I only want 3 gifts, and I only want to give 3 gifts because that's all Christ got.
Mm-hmm.
Why should you need more than 3 gifts if you're going to do it that way? So we're making all of our gifts. So Joe is going to get
That's sweet.
a really nice, I mean, a love package. If we're calling them, I'll send a few out. And
I appreciate it. Thanks.
Some smoked salmon, some sausage, and some things. And they'll be going out here by the end of the week. But I mean, medically wise, yeah, I've got a lot of physical therapy and get some stuff done. And then on the 7th, I get my sling taken. I did take my sling off just because it's just, I'll be sitting like this up here with it. Yeah. I can still take it off a little bit. So January, get it taken off. We have a fishing banquet. And on the 9th, we're going on a cruise. We're getting to blank out of Dodge.
What?
She is so, I'm out of here so bad because she has some problems with her neck and stuff like that. She goes.
So the vacation's a good thing.
You know what? And I got to tell you, she looks great. She's dropped 30 lbs.
She dropped to 30. I picked them up.
Yeah, me too. I gained some too, but I've always been perspective anyhow on Christmas, and most of my life I have the last 20 years. Joe is working the nonprofits, and once again, our Christmas is going to be passing out bags, and you should see the amount of cookies she's done. She's done 400 cookies because she's a pastry chef. We're doing 2 days at a truck stop handing out these love bags for the truckers. They get a track in it and some other stuff in there, a 1-800 sex trafficking rescue card awareness, and homemade Christmas cards by kids, and this stuff, some scarves or what have you. That's Christmas. That'll be our Christmas. I've been doing it for 20 years.
Now you've changed the location though where you're doing this. I remember you had told me.
Yes, big story, Joe.
Tell us about that.
You know what? And I'm listening to this gentleman beforehand. I am the tragic case. I did everything that gentleman did, but I got embezzled $1 million. Okay. It's like, oh, what's his name from The Vacation? He goes out to the Grand Canyon. Well, Chevy Chase bobs his head a few times. Okay, move on. Can't. I did the medals, and I should say I did okay in that. Yeah, but so the truck stop we used to do is called the Pilot, and they built another one. It's a Flying J. It's owned by the guy who's the Cleveland Browns owner, which Jim Haslam, I think. Well, we've been doing it for 20 years, had no problem going in. So just recently, we had everything all set up, and we went in there, and the guy, nobody I recognized. The guy goes, "Yeah, we've been bought up by Warren Buffett, Bill Gates' best right-hand man," and he says, "We're not allowing any of that stuff." I've asked him. He says, "Nope, you can't bring your stuff in here." So here we are, like, what are we going to do with all these bags? So about 25 miles south of here is a place called Love's, and they were more than welcome. And all the refugees from the Pilot who lost a lot of stuff, like their benefits. So when Warren came in, he made sure that he's getting his cut from those people, that hardworking people. So there's no security in anything, and no matter what you, I guess coffin makers maybe, or cremation people, but in general. So we got a good invite, so we're going to be down there, and so we're got some groups down there. So Saturday we'll set up a tent, and the rains we've been having here, oh my goodness, in Washington, it's been epic. It's been pretty epic, and houses floating down the river, those type of things. A lot of people are suffering. A lot of rivers are really. It's rained again last night. We lost power for 12 hours last night. Big storm came in, so once again, that's a challenge for me. No challenge for me. Not just the generators. We have a wood stove. We're cooking. We're fine. Those things.
Yeah.
I'm prepper boy, but I don't tell. I could go on all day with that, but we manage no problem. And so, yeah, that's what it is. I'm just trying to get my energy back, and sitting in front of here is the first time I've really felt comfortable in a while.
Oh, that's
because man, I told my son, right around Thanksgiving, I'm getting cut up worse than the turkey's going to be carved up here. So no complaints. The Lord is good. So last night, Joe, as we went night, and I do my nightly prayers, here's my prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, help us. Amen.
Best prayer.
I heard it in her voice. That's the best prayer since we've been married. That is the greatest prayer since we've been a couple. And she heard it in my voice. I go, he doesn't need a list, Joe. He doesn't need me to go get the fiddle out. There's nothing to complain about.
Besides, the Lord knows what you need before you know
all of it. And she said, you just nailed it. I go, I'm glad you think so, dear, because I'm sure he did too. And so we've had people make us some meals and do those things, but I'm getting back going here. Like I said, I'm kind of pampered because I really got to be careful with this arm and shoulders. After 6 weeks, I'll put this right back on after the show, and we'll get back to it. But I really got to be careful of not reaching and grabbing or anything. And I got a wife who has a neck. They're going to do an MRI on her, but she's a farm girl, and there's no sissy about her. But I've been watching a lot of different things, sitting back and watching. I've really been talking about. We don't have TV. We're up in the mountains. We're up in the mountains. So cables and all that stuff. I wouldn't. She bought me a Christmas present. One thing. Sirius XM. She bought a new car, so it comes with Sirius XM. Okay. So she bought Sirius XM for my phone, so I can listen to my Detroit Red Wings.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, for $3, $3.99 a month, and then with I could be out on a boat and listen to Tiger baseball. I'm from Detroit, and listen to Tiger baseball like I did as a kid, and the Red Wing hockey. I listen. I don't need to watch anything. I can listen to every sport of my Detroit teams I grew up with. I don't need a camera. I just grew up listening to the some of the greatest sports commentators. So that's all I wanted. I said, thank you, dear. That hits the spot. And we don't do TV really. We will watch something right now. We'll watch I got a big stack of old DVDs. Fred Claus is coming up, man. One of my favorite. Oh, Vince Vaughn. I love Vince, man.
Oh, he's good.
The concept of the movie, man. He's like, boy, that's a hard act to follow. And there's a part in the movie sitting in a circle with all the brothers, and there's Bill Clinton's brother over there. And it was really Bill Clinton's brother too. Frank Stallone, one of the Bolden brothers. All these guys are like, my brother was president. So you got to look at. I look at Fred's point of view as I do that movie and helping the kids that he did. But how's Joe doing? And
hey, Joe's doing fine. Joe's good. This is more for you because you haven't been on the show for almost over a month. Yeah, it's been a month almost. And
I gotta get rid of this stuff too. This gotta go.
Yeah, I was gonna make a comment about that. I was watching something and it reminded me of remember the wiffle bird?
Yeah,
that's what that is. That's the wiffle bird right there.
Yeah, as we say, the hair reclining, the belly's coming forward.
There you go. But you haven't been on the show in over a month, and I mention you as frequently as I can. The stuff that you're dealing with, and I'm just happy that you're back on the show. I'm happy that you're doing better. I mean, you look better, and you look stiff for sure, but that's to be expected.
Yeah.
But considering everything that you'd just been through. And now you're having all these complications from it, the surgeries and all that. I'm just glad. And and yeah, I'm going to poke a little dig at you. You're not exactly a young guy these days.
No.
So I worry about you. Like
Oh.
I've known you for over 20 years. And you're my brother. I love
Yeah,
you.
my brother
And
too.
I don't want to see you get hurt or anything like that. And I'm just glad that you're doing better. I'm glad that you were able to get on the show tonight. And I was hoping I wasn't sure if you were going to make it because I was waiting for you to check in, and you hadn't checked in when I expected you to. And I was like, oh man, maybe maybe something happened, and I was going to call you after the show. But I'm glad you're here, man. This is fantastic, and especially now because we have Christmas coming up next week,
Right.
and I know you said you're not a fan of the commercialization of it, and brother, I agree with you. Like people always tell me, especially at my job, they tell me, oh, you're such a Grinch, you're such a Scrooge, and all that stuff. And it's not that I don't like Christmas. I love Christmas. I love Christmas for the spiritual side of Christmas,
Right, exactly.
and what it represents, the heart of Christmas. What I don't like is the commercialization of Christmas.
Right.
So that's where I get frustrated with it.
Right.
And it's I would rather just have a very simple, quiet, just exactly the sigh, and just relax and just enjoy the holiday and what it really means and what it really represents. The fact that God gave the world the greatest gift that anyone could ever receive, and that's his son, the Lord Jesus Christ. That is what Christmas is. It's not the gifts. It's not the watches and the colognes and the toys and all that stuff. All that stuff is fine, but that's not what Christmas is.
The toys that they won't be playing with in 3 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
They're done. So
yeah, exactly.
And I think, like I said,
and I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt you for a second, but and I know someone's going to come out and say, well, Jesus wasn't really born on Christmas Day on December 25th. Yeah, I know that, but this is the day that we celebrate it.
I actually went investigate it. I went to Israel, and I went out there, and they the people. I have ties with the nation of Israel, late wife, and other people, family members. She was, like I said, she looked like she walked out of Israel, Jerusalem 2,000 years ago. She had the hair, the olive skin, etc. So we went over there, and she got to teach, and she spent time over there. And you're right. We don't make a big deal of it either. They don't have the sheep out there past like Thanksgiving, our calendar. They get the sheep in, and they said there will be no sheep out there in December. That's how they rotate them through. That's not a big deal. It's like tomato, but I think they just sell a song, have a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. If they put it together, it's a plan, Joe. I think they got it. But so it's even commercialism. I mean, I understand gift exchanges and what have you, but please don't misunderstand how I'm going to say this. I pretty much have been nonprofited for the last 20 years. I've had, soup on my apron at Christmas Eve or Christmas Day at the mission. Right. Where our town, the mission was a great place. Now it's been overrun with the zombies. And we have epidemic things in our city. Olympia, Washington has the biggest homeless camp, even more than Seattle. So there's a difference of draw the line of homeless. And back then, these are people who were, financially challenged with some things. And now they're just, it's a disaster down there. Yeah. And so I did that, and we would, like I said, that and different groups and organizations. So I didn't have that flow of the Christmas. What do you do? Well, what are we doing Friday? We have to have all the boxes done. We have to have all the bags ready, all the things in the bags. And then on Saturday morning, Rosanna would take all the cookies and put them in the bags as we were ready to pass these bags out to these truckers. So for me, I've been blessed to see that Christmas for 20-something years. And we started with this. Like I said, I've been married now, it'll be 3 years in January. We have started a great holiday tradition at our house. But do that, go to Christmas Eve service, get some food, some drinks, and put on Die Hard.
I watched Die Hard the other day.
No, we can't. It's our Christmas Eve movie. It's our Christmas Eve movie night, and Pumpkin likes it.
It's a great movie.
I know people he isn't there at Christmas. It's a lot of Christmas theme in there, right? They're at a Christmas party, so take it as it is.
It is. I and I'll put it out there to the audience. Let me know what you think. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie or not?
Yeah, there you go. It is.
I personally think it is.
Whoever watches it. So in my apps there, I've just kind of sat back. I've kind of done the no social media with me, but even the stuff scrolling and putting down. Like I said, actually, I had to get a wake up call because my therapy was really hard today, really hard. And the pain was really hard. So I woke up a quarter till, and I heard the bell. You got to get up, for the show. So I've been just kind of preoccupied with my therapy and what have you. And I go, what's I've actually gotten away from everything. No Fox News on my phone, Desk News, or my alternative news. What has been going on? Really, what has been going on? I know it's the same old with a lot of things. One caught my eye is Sean Ryan, who I listen to, and he's got a urinating match with Ben Crenshaw, the one-eyed patch guy, either congressman or senator.
Pirate,
yeah, and he's being pushed around by him. He asked the question. He put up some big party and massive money. All he asked was, "Boy, you're doing pretty well for making $175,000 a year." And he's the guy who said, "I like to F and kill Tucker Carlson."
Yeah.
So that's kind of that caught my eye of watching and reading something. I kind of had that sigh of relief. I told my buddy, draining swamps and what have you, not going to happen. It's just too much, too little. And like I said, I've changed. I want credit for this, but people call it the deep state. I call it the dark state. It is dark. There's dark. Mr. Bradshaw there, yeah. Try to get guys like us getting the money to put aside to do these things. I've just talked. I've talked to guys, like I said, man, my dad set me up really good, and trust funds, and then guys who have had to work their butts off. But I am, like I said, as I told my dear wife and a group of people, and I said, you will live the most incredible, adventurous, exciting lifestyle at this price range. And my buddy, he makes big money, and so I grew up with him. He goes, I've been every place twice, 3 to 4 times. He goes, but dude, your life is like touring with Mick and the Stones, and the stuff I've got to do, the blessings I have. And so I got a real cynical friend there, buddy. He's not one from friend to now buddy. Just, oh man, you really lost a lot not getting your pension. All I said, the last 20 years I've been all over the world. Mm-hmm. I've witnessed Christ, like we're talking here, to 6,000 or 7,000 people, thousands of people. Do you know Jesus Christ and show them the love of Christ and praying people to Christ? And so, as I said, my IRA is hopefully, Lord, you know all things. I'll be pretty decent when I get up there, and that's what I'm looking for. It's like I said, this stuff, even the gold and silver they say in Isaiah, I think will eventually be useless. But I just have the moxie to talk Christ and show him what he's done for me. Even though my body, like I said, I came in for my surgery and my knee was on the screen, and it was a new knee replacement, and they had the X-ray because they had the impact of my injury. It jolted it, so they had to unjolt it, and they had to put me out and like picture like a hinge, and I'll show you, like they had to like bend the knee back and forth when I was under. I'm sure he took that thing all the way back. So, but I was looking at the monitor going, yeah, that's what my knee looks like. It looks like something out of a Frankenstein movie. But
wow.
No, I just been detached from the electronics, and we've been good baking cookies, and
you're not missing anything.
There's nothing. Yeah. If I woke up,
we're still on the fast track to oblivion. So
we are, and I mean, like the left and the right and the blue and the red.
Yeah,
they can all go fight all they want until they're dead. Okay.
Yeah. By any chance, did you hear anything about the president's speech tonight?
I know he was going to talk about the dollar or something of the dollar and the different parts of Ukraine, and I don't know, Venezuela, Ukraine, some of the things that they're going in on whatever their actions of different countries. And he's talked about the dollar. Is that the one?
Yeah, I'm not sure, because I was on the show when he was on.
That's what the scuttlebutt was. I'm going, and history shows back in 1971 when Richard Nixon, and I was 10 years old, so I didn't. Actually, I was a kid who watched Meet the Press and Face the Nation as a kid. So it was cold in the winter, so I just watched this stuff on Sunday before football. And they took our monetary system off the gold. I say it right there. The gold backed the dollar.
Right.
So Nixon, the the honorable thief that he is, he made sure that guys like us would never get a chance to make stuff like make money like the they're not privileged, they're insiders. All of it's insiders. It's really an inside job. This whole the Constitution, boy, Franklin and those guys. No, we set it up for these guys, not you guys, because we know the guys that are going to build the country, keep the country running, and it's not the middle class, it's the working class that is going to keep the machine running. But you're going to make sure it's on their backs. I mean, that's what they're saying if they've seen that now, 250 years later. And it's like, I use a lot of movie analogies because I know tons of movies and movie lines, but I'll go with it. Heath Ledger's, I just said it recently, the Joker. He's talking to Batman. So all these guys are schemers. Gordon has his schemes. The mayor has his schemes. They're all schemers. And they all have got their plans, and they're all trying to jockey and rub each other. He's right. They're all schemers. All of them. From the bankers, your local bankers and credit unions and loan officers and the guys who can get on your internet and steal your money, your grandma's money. They're all schemers. They really are. And so the power was out today. Didn't notice. No, shoot. I'll be out there, Joe, in my t-shirt, chopping wood. Hey, honey, put some water on the stove, rock and roll this, baby.
Hey, so let me ask you. I want to ask you something. Because we're coming up against the clock here, so we're going to wrap up soon.
Okay. Sure.
So I know that you have been working on getting your show together and your project here. So what's the update on that? What are we doing?
Okay. I just need one last piece of the puzzle, and I've worked real hard. I tried to put it on the internet to barter, if someone can help me just to put. I got the soundboard and I got the computer, and I'm talking to one mic, but it's a direct line into the USB. So my mic is just hooked up that way. To the right of mine, I have the soundboard. I, through whatever trial and error, have got both of my other headphone sets and both microphones talking to each other, so I can hear myself through my soundboard. I just have to get it hooked into the software or to the computer, and then I'm going to expand everything. And I went over to the last couple of days. I have an old Mac. I got rid of 23,000 items. And now I can put Final Cut Express on there if I want to make movies or clips or something like that. And then this computer here, we just want to find. My wife said I'll barter a wedding cake or something like that. Someone can help us finish it so I can do your stuff. So once I can do stuff like that, my mind explodes. And I'm working on a book. I've had 20 people ask me in the last month, you should write a book on the stuff you did. It's pretty crazy stuff. Like I said, one of my favorite stories on a mission field was up in the Arctic in December. And I got the crew of us said, hey, we're taking a ride on a snowmobile, 20 plus miles on a frozen river to an Eskimo wedding where I got to sit at the Grand Poobah table. And that was a great story.
Nice.
I mean, no, serious. Here's the white dude up here. Yeah. Hey, pass me some of that whale blubber there. For real. No, I'm talking for real.
Oh, I know you are.
They had male seal oil. No, but they had salmon and they had everything they killed. I said, that's my life. That's how I roll, Joe. I either caught it, killed it, or raised it. It's in my freezer. But I just got to get one more little piece here, and she will be done with all of her stuff this week. She says, let's take a look at it. I know she's pretty tech savvy. And her son, who's a Microsoft programmer, he goes, I just don't know the soundboard part to put it to the computer. Once I get that, things are going to explode. She's all ready to do what she wants to do by the beginning of the year, do some promos for her little video essay that she's working on the 14 Amendments. And she's got the wardrobe, and now she feels really good because, there goes my camera a little bit. I'll just hold it the rest of the time here.
That happens.
See my forehead there? Actually, I'm going to put it back. I had a thing of looking at it. I got to go this way now. She is getting her wardrobe put on. She feels comfortable. This is a woman thing. She goes, I now feel comfortable with to wear these outfits. And so we have the dialogue, and I've written up some dialogue for her, and we did some taping just to get it in the soundboard to the computer on the screen. And we have a few other people who are going to help us now, some actors that have some acting ability. And we're talking about some cooler stuff. Like we live up in the woods up here. Like one of them is going to be her dressed up as like a colonial First Amendment person, taking it, like have a bag for the news and whatever. She's ready to scroll out, and the shots are being fired and smoke and everything. And guys in the background will be fighting it out for real. So they got a couple guys We got muskets involved and everything, and it'll be the First Amendment. And
Black powder.
they got black powder and everything. And you can agree with me, the First Amendment is married to the Second Amendment, which is married to the First Amendment.
Yeah.
Those two are almost like one big amendment.
Without the Second Amendment, you wouldn't have
Right.
a First Amendment.
Right. And like I said, I tell people, I says, if you want to go get shot, go to the strictest gun law blue city state in the Americas, and you'll have an opportunity to get shot or mugged or whatever.
Absolutely.
So, so
Absolutely.
that's where he is, Joe. On that, she said, let's get this all done. And she's at home. And I know it sounds, the accident is called Life Interrupted. Life Interrupted. And it's been tough because.
But you're on the upswing now, which
Oh
is,
yeah. I got my Wolverine powers kicking in for real. The doctor's like, "Whoa, this is looking great after how many weeks?" And I'm feeling great. I really am feeling good. And I already started to lose the weight again. I was laying there for 5 weeks.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, that's expected. But
And
but the great thing about it though is the fact that, you're an active person,
Yeah.
so you're going to heal faster,
that's what I'm doing.
because honestly, most men your age,
Yeah.
right, don't heal as fast as you're healing.
And
And
my
that-
doctor said it's like wild.
well, that's because you're an active person in the
Yeah.
lifestyle that you live.
Mhm.
So that's to your credit, and that's great, and that's
Right.
great, and that's why I'm really happy that you were able to get on the show tonight, and spend a little time with us. That was
Right. And like I say, I want to be coming back to the pimple on the backside of Texas next year. Don't know when. I'll bring down a 2026 visit and suitcase of really cool stuff, and I'll make it in person. We'll be in studio together, which would be kind of nice again.
Yes, sir.
I already planned it and talked to her, and so. But financially next year, there's some things that are going to come forward for me, and things that I did invest in, which is the federal government paying me for my retirement. My buddy the other day, here are people who get Somalian checks, and I'm fighting for my retirement that I've served my country for. It's only in America, where
Sad.
veterans and federal workers have to fight tooth and nail to get what they worked for.
Sad but true, my brother. Sad
is.
but true.
So that's the Wednesdays with Wayne report. Like I said, very low key because I've been pretty much down the last 6 weeks up, and like I said, and my energy comes and goes. Like she said last night, I could hear you running in your sleep. So I literally got up. I was just my parts are hurt. Like I said, between my knees and my hips, my shoulders, but it's getting better fast. So I'm doing really well there.
All right, Wayne. So we're gonna wrap it up at this point. I got to close out the show. The kids are waiting to eat their dinner.
Yes.
We're overdue.
So we're two chefs. My wife, like I said, world-class chef. Been in Texas, cooked with the world's greatest chefs and stuff. So we've decided we're going to go with the Christmas story. We're going to have Chinese for Christmas Day. We're going to make a great Chinese meal.
That's the way to go.
Absolutely, man. Here I got if you've seen what I have in my freezer, man, but she goes, I love it. Let's do the Christmas story one. So, but everybody, including Joe, like I said, we'll send you something. Everybody is kind of like, homemade gifts, and we're not even going to go see anybody. Even the kids, the sentimental kids, we'll see after Christmas, and we're going to make ice cream with the grandkids one day. But everybody else, it's Wayne and Rosanna kind of just heal. And so if everybody loves us, that's what they want. If that's what you want for us, that's what you do. That's what we're going to do. And so,
Exactly.
So I'm going to get it going. I'm going to, like I said, I know I've said it, this has been nothing but a roadblock to get my screen up and get my software in, and us really start to kick stuff out I want to do.
You'll get there. We're getting there.
And we get there. So
good.
So yeah, Joe Rooz, brother, you are going to get some of the most butt-kicking sausage that I make, some smoked salmon. I'm going to tell the whole nation, the Joe Rooz nation out there. And I got a buddy, he's been on, he says, man, he's a Michigan guy. You can't beat my smoked salmon. And so this natural, same thing they would be doing 200 years ago, smoking salmon or doing the things, making sausage or cutting meats and hanging them up. Well, I do it a little more civilized than that. And you're gonna have some good, another love package coming. Joe, everybody, I know they said a reason for the season, and I know all of those different cliches, but I tell people it's not just the baby in the manger; it's the blood on the cross. Yeah.
Exactly right.
I seen a couple of I can't remember them, but it said what he did the first time, what he did the second time. He came as a lowly servant. He comes back as the conquering king. And the most important one, he came as a savior. Second time, a judge.
That's it.
So
That's right, bro. That's right.
Blessings to you, to the family there, the kids, and I'm gonna get rolling. I'm gonna get going here. I gotta watch. She's gotta watch me very carefully, and don't lift this. Even Joe, I could screw it up with a jar of mayonnaise lifting it right now.
Well, then don't do that.
Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of weird. It's weird, you know. I actually chopped 2 cords of wood before the surgery. They said, well, you could. It didn't matter. He's already screwed up. They go, but you still did. I still did 2 cords of wood before the surgery.
You're a lunatic, man. Folks, if you don't know Wayne, he's a certified lunatic.
Yeah. And it's my wife. She said,
So
my wife's 20 years. The doctor come in. So what do you do for activities? I go, well, my wife's 20 years younger than me. He was from Nigeria.
That's great. Oh my God.
Yeah, I see. Yeah. She said, I didn't marry a 60-year-old. I married 2 30-year-olds.
Nice.
Joseph, blessings to you. Love everybody.
You too, brother. God bless you. My love to Ro.
He's still in charge.
Amen.
All right,
Give my love to Ro. And
absolutely, dude. Absolutely.
I will.
And she's got some really good stuff for you.
All right, and I'll give you a shout over the weekend.
Okay, take care.
All right, brother. God bless you. Wayne Rankin, folks. Wayne Rankin. Wednesdays with Wayne. We've missed this. We have. Take care, brother. I'll talk to you in a bit.
Bye. Take care.
All right, folks. Long show tonight. Packed show. My voice is going. I don't know if you can hear that. It is. So really quickly, just a couple of quick things. Don't forget to head over to the website, joerooz.com, and make sure you sign up for the programming announcements email list. It's just an email list we're sending out just to let everybody know what's coming up with the show. No sales pitches, anything like that. Everything stays local with us. We're not selling anything. We're not selling your information, giving it away, sharing it, or anything like that. And it is it's free. Not going to cost you anything. So sign up for it. We need you to do that. All right. Also, tonight's second guest, Tony Bradshaw. Thanks to Podmatch. Podmatch.com. If you want to be a guest on this show, we need you to go to Podmatch. You got to sign up on Podmatch. And where's the link? Where is it? You can head over to podmatch.com/host detail preview /Joe. So you can take a look at my profile on there, see all the previous interviews that we've done. I think over 60 of them now. And if you want to be a part of that, you could always sign up on that site. I forgot what I was going to say. You can go to joinpodmatch.com/Joe Rooz and get yourself an account on Podmatch. It's a great platform. That's where we are part of the Podmatch podcast network, which means that, we're trying to steer all of our bookings through Podmatch. So head over to Podmatch. Get yourself an account. Join podmatch.com/Joe Rooz. Use my affiliate link. We'd appreciate that. And then check out the profile and sign up. Love to talk to you. So join podmatch.com/Joe Rooz and podmatch.com/host detail preview /Joe. Check them out. All right. Also, what else we got? Don't forget Alex Jones. We are our affiliate link with thealexjonesstore.com, thealexjonesstore.com/Joe. Get yourself some supplements, get yourself some vitamins, get yourself some healthy things. And you can do all that through thealexjonesstore.com/Joe. And remember, 10% of anything you purchase on that site come right back here to the podcast to help us pay for all this stuff. So we do appreciate that. And there are some great vitamins and supplements. If I wasn't taking them, if I wasn't seeing results from them, I wouldn't tell you to try them. Try them out. thealexjonesstore.com/Joe. All right. Coming up Friday. On Friday's show, we have Dan Berman's going to be with us at the 7 o'clock hour. So make sure you check us out there. Dan Berman. And we're looking forward to talking to him. And don't forget, folks, to follow us on all socials. Twix, Joe Rooz. Truth Social, Joe Rooz. Minds, Joe Rooz. Not Joe Rooz on Instagram. And all the rest. All right. Shout outs. I don't know if you hear Charlie out there barking. He's hungry. It's way past his dinner time. So shout outs to our executive producers, Wayne Rankin, Rosanna Rankin, Carolina Jimenez, Marissa Lee, and Anonymous Angela. If you would like to get involved with that, just head over to our support page. Take a look at all the different tiers that we have, the associate producer, executive producer. And if you have the means to do it, and you want to help us out in that way, sign up. And we would love to have you as part of the team. Also want to give a very special thank you to John Seeley for the $30 donation he made the other day. So thank you very much for that, John. Greatly appreciate that. I appreciate you, brother. And if you want to help us out with cryptos, you can do that too. All of our wallet information is up there on the website as well. All right. I think finally that's all I've got for you for tonight. So again, thank you for taking the time to be with us tonight. Marathon show for us. Thank you for being here. God bless you. Have a great night, and we will see you on Friday. Oh, make Texas independent again. Go podcasting. Keep a steady stride. Keep talking. Good night, folks.
Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you. Keep smiling until then. Who cares about the clouds if we're together?
Just sing a song and bring the sunny weather.
Happy trails to